This is it. The Nomadium quarterfinals. There is no higher occasion. And tonight, we are about to witness two of the biggest continents battling it out for the ultimate glory, representing not only their friends, their amigos, but their countries and their continents. On one side of the ledger, you have PLA, the people's hopes for the Republic of China, held by their anchor, Linky, renowned as one of the world's best players. We saw what PLA were capable of during the Super 16 group qualifiers.
On the other side, they are like great, you know, really great.
PLA
Like,
is epic. It's just...
Linky and Angelo, those are two tier 1 players if we have tiers.
After dispatching LAT Euro with ease, they then came up against the mighty behemoth Tough Alpha, considered one of the favourites of the entire tournament. Normally most teams would fall aside at the sheer thought of playing against this titan of the Rise of Nations scene. However, PLA thought otherwise. Perfectly executed strategies, combined with sheer resilience and team play, saw them with an absolute upset and a classic, which saw them through as their first seed out of their group.
Linky just came for a ambush, but Serge is running away just...
PLA Art of War were born from the teachings of Sun Tzu, and as Sun Tzu once said, strike when the iron is hot, something that PLA Art of War have followed at every step.
And full militia pool from Timeless. Full militia pool from Timeless.
Oof. All I can say is just oof. Damn.
Damn.
Born off the back of some smart decision making and a well-exercised and well-timed militia rush. On the other side of the ledger you have LAT, who have clawed their way through sheer determination and grit to make their way to the Super 8 finals.
LAT Fusion, yeah, they were already seeded into the Super 16, so they are supposed to be very good, and we know that they are very good.
Headed by the old warrior, El Azteca, aka LAT Paladin. He's come out of retirement just to carry this LAT team on his shoulders. However, will it be enough? LAT Fusion were born from the chamber of Latin culture. They come from very different countries. Colombia, Argentina, Paraguay, Mexico. Yet they all come together to defend their banners and represent their culture on the world stage. Which team is the favorite, I hear you ask? Well, my friend, it's not that simple. There is no such thing as favorites when it comes to defending your continent's pride, integrity and honor on the highest stage possible. Both teams are well versed in playing under extreme conditions, horrifying lag. They've been brought up with this as one of their skill sets, and it's going to be interesting to see which team can overcome the worst lag conditions ever known to man. Can LAT do it? Can Paladin come back and destroy PLA? Or are PLA just simply too strong? With the mastermind strategic leadership of Angelo, excellent play of their MVP Linky, and the great strategic thoughts of Timeless, PLA is surely looking like they're up to the task. But LAT, if there's one thing we know that Latin American spirit can get them through any hurdle. One thing is for certain, this is going to be an epic match of pride, of aggression, of storylines, of heroics, of defense, and of willpower. Which team has what it takes? Don't go anywhere, grab your popcorn, grab your drinks, and get set for an epic match.
Yeah, just guys, seriously, let's have fun and let's finish this thing. Let's make another one. This is really great. It's much more, maybe not fascinating, maybe not exciting, but it's something new. Forget about the rewards. As a matter of fact, at least in my part, I don't really care about the rewards. I don't really care about the status. I don't really care about being in the Hall of Fame or anything. I'm just doing it because it's fun, and we all have our jobs, we all have our lives to live, and if we can put something beautiful, something good into it, all the better. We got enough problems already, and yeah, it's just one way of getting rid of your problems. None of us are saints, no one's insane, and everyone's equally good. It's just that we're much better. We can see, we have this vision. We can feel what other players are gonna do, and you're gonna have to outsmart us. Don't beat the wall with your head. Don't think it's just 1 or 0, you know, computer language. You gotta think. You gotta adapt. You gotta outthink us. And yeah, good luck with that.
Alright, 2 elephants have been bribed already.
That was a huge move there by Immaculate, but he gets the cap sack and, kills a heap of units.
This is the kind of fight that I was expecting at this level.
Lots of bribes going down right now, but the scouts going crazy.
Perfect timing. That's a perfect time. These guys are going to take the Lakota city. Look at that. Oh my god, Sims just lost his capital. I cannot believe it. Alright, yeah, are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? What's happening here? It's a triple. They are going to triple Dragonio. Dragonio has no clue. Dragonio's capital is going down, no doubt about it. Kron has got all his militia right there.
I'm a huge fan of Young One.
Young One came with 3 spies. That's enough to change the flow of the game.
Would you say EL is more of a democracy or dictatorship?
It's either I play or I don't play. I've been playing pretty good lately, so watch out there.
Oh my god, just look at Zen Mechanics footage. He just went for Science 5. Oh, and TNT just decided, F my city, I'm gonna help that. This is a slap on the face for anybody who said the game was over. That was the best comeback ever in the history of Rise of Nations.
It was neck and neck, man. It could have went either way. Honestly, it was really close.
Hello guys, what's up? Welcome to another edition of Nomadium 2. I am Kron, and with me is Dangerous Dave, aka the newly minted Just Simply Dave. Dave,
yes.
How are you going today?
I'm no longer dangerous, but yeah, welcome guys. This is going to be an epic matchup.
And for those that don't know that, the inside joke there, Dave just recently changed his nickname, lost to Dangerous, so still just as dangerous when it comes to playing Rise of Nations, but just a slightly shorter name there. And guys, we're here to cast what should be a really great quarterfinal here between PLA Art of War versus LAT Fusion, two of the top tier nations, two of the top tier teams from two really interesting patches of the globe, and two classic strongholds in Rise of Nations as well, being China versus Latin America. Dave, before we keep going, I mean, can you just talk to, I guess, the representation that we've seen from these two regions, and what playing in this tournament means for these people?
Well, I think both PLA and LAT have huge number of players in these clans, and the way I see it, these are the top things for both of these clans. So I guess they're pinning all their hopes on who is going to win this, and it's going to be interesting to see, for sure.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, and just it's classically a case where there's a lot of people who play Rise of Nations from Latin American countries, as well as in China as well. The problem with China is they have their VPN and the Great Wall of China, which sometimes prevents some of their players from playing on the international servers on Steam. But we've seen, some great performances from PLA all around, and nothing greater than from PLA Art of War. I mean, as you saw in that pre-match video, they've had quite the path to get here, coming into a group that had, tough alpha, one of the most fearsome competitors in the entire tournament, and somehow they were able to manage to deal with that adversity and basically play their hearts out and win 2-1 in a massive upset, according to most people who watched there. Do you think that in that series, Dave, what was it that was their secret to winning that match against Tough?
Well, honestly speaking, I also think Tough was not on their best game, but PLA's strength lied in their teamwork and ability to carry out their decisions that they planned out.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I guess that's the thing about Rise of Nations. You never know how good you're going to show up, and you never know how bad your opponents could possibly play as well. And PLA taking full advantage, they went through that group of the Super 16 as the #1 seed, which meant that they got to dodge a lot of big people, big teams in the quarterfinals here. So they have managed to find themselves their opponent as LAT Fusion, who finished second in their group behind AZ Dragons. LAT Fusion, again, classically known as the best LAT team in this tournament. They were previously styled as LAT 1, and some really heavy hitters as well, especially. You can see that this lineup slightly changed as well. Hugo has actually been added to the roster in an emergency swap that we've had. There was some reasons for that, but essentially Cazador could no longer play. And so with the agreement of PLA, Hugo's actually been swept into this round, but you've got Hugo, Coco, Paladin, Meliodas, and Dragon Neo. Of those players, though, what do you think, Dave? Who are the players to watch here?
From what I think the popular opinion is, Paladin, aka Azteca, Coco, and Cazador would be the top 3, but as you can see, Cazador is no longer part of the team. Not sure what the reason is for that, but we will be missing a top tier player in his personality, so I'm sad to see him go. But from a sneak peek to the first game, I see Azteca's name in the roster, so this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest news here, is the fact that Azteca has come out of retirement and he is here to basically try and carry this LAT team all the way to the semifinals. Not that they need to be carried, by the way. This LAT team has excellent talent, particularly Coco is a great player. Meliodas is shown to be a really high-tier player as well. Hugo is classically one of the most dominant South American players to play the game. And then Dragon Neo has won multiple tournaments as well. So this is really like an all-star team of the best from all of that Latin South American community. So I can't wait to see what they show us in these matches. And coming up against PLA here, it's going to be a classic fight too. Do you think they're going to play different styles as well? That's probably my last question before we get started. What's the styles that you've seen here from PLA and from LAT?
I think PLA is more aggressive, especially Linky. He's one of the best aggressive players in the community, while LAT is more of a booming style, I guess. But LAT also has their own Linky, so to say, in Azteca. He used to be one of the strongest aggressive players. So we'll see if he's rusty or not, if he can bring out the talent again. It's going to be great.
Yeah, so true. That's going to be a classic storyline here. I'm particularly hyped. I wonder if we'll see Linky versus Paladin, aka Azteca, in any of these matchups. That's going to be a nice one to watch for. But other than that, though, I think just about ready to get started and get stuck into this first match. So are you ready, Dave?
Yep, I am ready.
All right, let's get straight into it. All right, I'll count it down on 3, 2, 1. Let's go. This is the first match. PLA Art of War versus LAT Fusion here. And the first map will be on a fan favorite, Great Lakes. Classic booming map here. And we can already see that the LAT guys appear to have started at the kind of the top / left-hand side of the map. And PLA, on the other hand, are on the right-hand side. So let's have a quick look at their nations first before we get stuck into their positioning. So we have the LAT people have chosen here. Aztec has actually gone for Japanese, then Dragoneer with Bantu, Meliodas with Greeks, versus PLA have gone for Egyptians, Timeless with British, and Angelo is the light blue with Indians here. What's your thoughts, Dave, initially on the picks, in particular the tier 1 picks here of Japanese versus Egyptians for PLA?
I think the meta pick for this map is Egyptians, because you really need Colossus, Hanging Gardens for the whole game. It makes a huge impact because it's a very boomy map. It's interesting to see that LAT didn't go for Egyptians. I wonder if they're saving it for another map. It could be a good strategy, but I would definitely still pick Egyptians even if the enemy picks it, because giving both wonders to the enemy is not a good idea.
Yeah, that's so true. And I must admit, I already think that PLA's decision to go with Egyptians here is definitely superior. However, we have seen a few interesting strategies. I mean, Japanese is a jack of all trades nation. They can certainly boom, they can rush. They're just very, very quick. So there is potential for maybe LAT has a specific plan in mind here. Maybe they're looking to put on some aggression early. But I do agree that, in a long boom game, you really want to try and nab one of those two wonders, whether it's Hanging Gardens and Colossus. And if someone goes Egyptians, they can get both of them without any resistance. And actually, I'd just like to point something out quickly. This should be an interesting storyline of this game, is you can see that Linky is at the bottom of the map here as the Egyptian player. However, he's spawned right next door to Dragon Neo.
To Bantu.
Yeah, who's playing as Bantu here. And Bantu, they have a lot of special abilities, but one of them is fast troops for raiding. So do you think this is going to throw a spanner in the works of PLA's plan here?
I don't know if this was intentional by Dragonil to build so forward. I guess it was because he was a bit delayed, but this is a great move by him because he is very close to the Egyptian player, and building 2 wonders as Egyptians, it's going to be very risky now. And potentially the Japanese player can snag one of those wonders if he wants to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I wonder if Dragonil actually knows yet. I mean, surely he sees the border push, so he knows someone is there, but surely he's going to scream out jackpot in Spanish once he does see that he's right next door to Egypt, because that is their worst nightmare. Also, just scouting Pappy as well at the very bottom of the map. Dragonil pings that to his teammates, and you can see that it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. It's bad because he knows that PLA has Pappy in their territory, but potentially he could raid that. So it's not as bad as it being very deep inside their territory.
Yeah, he definitely cannot grab that by territory, that's for sure, but initially it's gonna be in danger for PLA to use that. Also, an interesting pick by PLA to go for Indians instead of Greeks. I would say that Greeks are a favorite on this map, just because you can gather so much early knowledge, and they can go up to gunpowder age very fast. But Indians are a powerhouse in gunpowder as well, it's just they are a bit slower to get there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Indians, I guess in my view, it's a pick which is really hinging on gunpowder age and getting those elephants with, the cannons mounted on their backs, because I feel like Greeks is probably a better, whole of game nation here. Whereas if you're going for a specific strategy in Enlightenment Age or Gunpowder Age, which is basically late game, let's be honest, most Nomad games don't go much further than Enlightenment Age, then, they're really dominant. And on this map, obviously there's plenty of fish, so you can build plenty of elephants. But like you said, I feel like the Greek player is probably the odds-on favorite to reach Gunpowder first, and therefore the Greek player could potentially kill before the Indian can catch up.
Yeah. Still, the rare resources are gonna decide a lot as well, so it could be dependent on that. I can see that PLA has 2 library rares. If they can secure the silver right next to Linky, it's gonna be a great combo.
Oh, and I'll just bring your attention, there's some wild play here, straight up. Let's just say LAT are putting on a show for the spectators right now. You can see that Paladin has actually gone for Mill 1 as Japanese, which is probably the fastest nation you could possibly go Mill 1 with. And he's spamming Spearmen already. Although, I guess the only thing not in his favor is the fact that there's a little bit of a walk to get to his opponent. And also his opponent is British, who are probably the best nation to be up against this. But still, I expect this will probably catch Timeless off guard. I mean, I don't think anyone would expect a Mill 1 here on Great Lakes of all maps.
Yeah, this is definitely a peculiar move. I don't know what his goal is, because he does not see the wood for Timeless, but he will spot it, I think.
He has spotted
it
just now, yeah.
His wood. Yeah, that's gonna be a huge deal if he manages to do that. But like you said, British can get their Mill 1 next if they want to. And if he has enough wood, then the free archer will help denying this raid.
Oh, Timeless does spot the second heavy infantry there just walking past, and he has pinged his teammates. Says 98 in the chat, are the humanity indeed. And let's see how he reacts to this. Obviously, he needs to get Mill ASAP, but that Japanese Ashiguru Spearman is on his way. So the only problem for the Japanese player is it's hard to track down those pesky citizens and actually get a kill.
Yeah, I think his army composition for this could be better, because just 3 heavy infantry won't do much, especially since the third one is chasing 1 villager that's way inside Paladin's territory.
That is, yeah, it's almost like if you can't catch your opponent's citizens, you just need to zone them out and basically hang around the wood camp and just at least stop them from working. Some good damage though, but they can just run away if they microed well, so Timeless does need to be careful though. He's at risk of losing 1 citizen here. He does lose 1 citizen, so he's already starting to get some good dividends here. Second citizen under threat, and Timeless needs to be really careful here. That's some really sloppy micro, perhaps not watching the screen properly. Oh, he is getting attacked at his main base as well, so this is definitely throwing Timeless through a loop. Not expecting this early aggression.
He's trying to get his barracks down now, and that's actually a good spot, because his opponent won't expect him to build it there, probably. So I think that barracks should go up, and with his archer he will be able to defend himself. But Paladin did a good damage with this raid, even though he didn't bring an archer. He's already got his commerce one, just that's the power of Japanese.
Yeah, I'm always tempted.
And on the other side,
yeah, we can
Dragoneer also went for Mill 1.
We can see Mill 1 here as well from Dragoneer, and I really like this aggressive play here from LAT. I mean, talk about throwing out the rulebook for this map. However, you can see some nice team play. Angelo's actually gone for Mill, and he's backing up his teammate Linky here, protecting that Colossus. So I like the fact that both teams are playing really smart. I mean, the fact that Linky is not going Mill, but he's letting his teammate do it, is really saving them a lot of eco later on by getting that Colossus up.
Yep, and the fact that Linky can skip Mill for the time being saves a lot of resources for him. It is noted that Dragoneer is idling his wood camp a bit. He only has a 50 income now. Angelo was a bit late with the second archer, and I think he may have to invest into more, but it looks like it will be enough for the time being.
And I mean, the scoreboard here doesn't really always tell the full story, but you can see that LAT temporarily just a smidgen above in score, so very aggressive intentions here seem to be paying off, although once this Colossus gets up, if PLA can stabilize here and start to get a more normal game going, we should see them have a resurgence.
Dragoneer was trying to get that silver, but his city is getting denied.
Yeah, it does look like he was getting shot at by arrows, but he will have enough there to get that city up, and that's a nice little coup there for Dragoneer. I mean, not only getting that silver in his territory, but also isolating Linky here. I mean, if he wants to, he could build another city to the right-hand side and completely cut off Linky from the outside world.
And the fact that he can grab this silver is a huge deal, not just because for the boom, but the fact that he can go up to H3 much faster means that he will be harder to rush.
Yeah,
even if they double.
So true, and you can see Angelo is building, or trying to build his second city just to avoid getting completely cut off. I'm not sure. Oh, it looks like Dragoneer is building his third Bantu city, which he gets for free behind here. So yeah, he potentially could have cut off Linky completely, but perhaps that would be a little bit of fancy play where he doesn't need to do that.
Didn't really talk about many of this yet. He's been silently booming behind this. The only thing I don't like about his play so far is that he didn't make any scholars until now. He could have made more early and he would have more knowledge, but other than that, I have no complaints.
Yeah, what do you think of... So Meliodas, yeah, he's basically been a passive actor in this game so far, but you can see that he did build his second city in front of Paladin here, and now he's just gone for a standard build. So they do have diamonds, peacocks, and also spice. So a couple of nice rares there, but nothing game-changing that I can see so far. Interesting placement of this Hanging Gardens. Firstly, the fact that he's building Hanging Gardens in such a dangerous position, and also he's building it within range of siege, by the looks of it.
I think he could not place it in the back because it's such a huge wonder, and that's the only place he could build.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally run out of real estate. Problem is, that real estate he's building it on is literally like at the doorstep of Bantu here. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, if he wants to build it, he wants to build it. But, yeah, maybe he just kind of, in hindsight, should have built his library and farms over a bit to allow space.
Yeah. That's one of those things that you don't think of ahead of time, and after that you're like, oh my god, why did I build like this?
Yeah. And I feel
interesting city position for Dragoneer. I thought he would build another city on this silver just to secure it, but now it's back in PLA's territory somehow. Because they have gems. No, they don't have gems. They did have gems, but it got raided now. So it's just on the border, so this is not really secure for LAT either.
Yeah, I mean, Dragoneer
he's normally known to be a very big boomer, but he's definitely showing that he's got more tools up his sleeve here. Playing very aggressive, and also look at that micro. I mean, he's keeping all the units with almost 1 or 2 HP alive and sending them back to get healed up. So far, if he can keep this up, he's going to have a huge army and also get maximum utility out of them as well.
Yeah, the fact that Linky couldn't maximize his eco for so long is a huge deal, because he still cannot go to the next age, and he will need some more time to finish this wonder. It's almost like Dragoneo is faster than him, even though he made all those units and Linky made almost none.
Yeah, you can see that Paladin's also doing some really nice raids. He's already got a light horse out, and I mean, if you look at Timeless here, he doesn't even have age 2 yet, and he's not even actually that close. I mean, Paladin is doing like a magnificent job here, turning back the years. It's almost like he never stopped playing.
Even Meliodas is happening with 2 light cav. This is huge, because in Ancient Age you have nothing to defend against light cav except some hoplites, but they are really slow and they get out microed by archers. Also, Timeless's archers were out of position, so his eco is hurting a lot at the moment.
Yeah, his wood is really low, and as British too, I mean, he has so much
to the side to cover gems better. Definitely I wouldn't place it on the front, because there's Japanese and Greeks on the front lines.
Yeah, I agree. I think going to the side as well has the added bonus. He could get access to that lake in the middle, which seems to be uncontested and, you know, could potentially be a massive source of gold as this game kind of normalizes a bit. If it does normalize, that's the point. I mean, LAT might be looking to end this early. We'll wait and see how they go about it. But meanwhile, look at that. Yeah, Meliodas has a really good eco. And let's have a look at Paladin's eco. It's also not bad. He's filled up 1 university completely. And you can see that Timeless, he still hasn't aged, so he's just aging quicked up now. But yeah, just that knowledge gap alone is going to be pretty sizable.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see if they go for the quick finish here. It's gonna be difficult against British, even with all these raids. But we don't see rushes too often on this map, so I'm eager to find out what happens. Now, on the bottom side, we see the power of these 2 wonders. 105 knowledge income for Linky and 0 for Dragoneo. So Dragoneo really needs to spam a lot of scholars, because he knows for a fact that Linky has at least 50, but probably even more.
Yeah, you can just see that the power of those 2 wonders just, you know, it's not too bad at the moment, but once he gets his Senate out, once he gets his Commerce too, you know, the power of Linky is just going to multiply here. And the fact is that Dragoneo went for middle 1 here. We have to not forget that. He's done a great job keeping his eco going at the same time, but there's no way that he can match, you know, a player who's just boomed from the outset. And I mean, Angelo didn't exactly boom completely. He helped out, but he still has a much better eco compared to Dragoneo. So he's up against 2 players here that both have better ecos. Oh, look at this big attack here by Paladin. He's going on with Siege, and he's going for London. I don't know if Timeless is going to be able to stop this. I mean, this came out of nowhere, but LAT are just going for it right now. He does get the caps. He moves his cap just before they get the sack. That was
wow. What is going on here?
That was a clutch play right there. But the problem is, you know, he's done a great job moving his capital, but can he actually hold here? That is the question. There's a ton of units coming from 2 angry LAT players right now, and you can see that those Greek heavy cavalry are no fools. They're not easy to stop, and he only has archers, so that may have just delayed the inevitable. I don't know what PLA are going to be able to do to respond here. I mean, do they just let Timeless die and just try and win a 2v3?
Yeah, Angelo tried to help with a bribe, because he only had the Senator there, but even that lost. And he just gave 100 gold to the enemy. It was really important to move his cap for Timeless, because he didn't give the cap sack away for free. I think if LAT goes for this attack a bit earlier, they might have captured it, but the fact that Timeless didn't have his Senate placed yet was a huge deal.
Yeah, that was absolutely massive. So, I mean, ironically, it's not like he raised his Senate. He just literally hadn't built his Senate to actually build his Senator. Although I do think he would have built that probably behind anyway, right? Because that's the safer location, but still, that did work out really well for him. And definitely, I could see I can see the grave, the tombstone of PLA for a brief moment, and then suddenly they came back to life when Timeless moved that cap. A nice little play, and it looks like the power of these elephants should be able to at least delay any push here from LAT.
Yeah, it looks like LAT won't be able to push further right now, but the Greeks are already up to medieval age, and yeah, we can see the power of Greeks already because he's so far ahead to medieval age of everyone else.
Yeah, he has gone for science too. And, sorry, that was Paladin who's gone for science too. And yeah, age 3 here already for Meliodas. And Meliodas playing really strongly here so far. I mean, it looks like the LAT guys are just in perfect sync with each other. They're playing well as a team. They know what their roles are. And I feel like they may have come into this game and practiced these strategies, which is great to see because, seeing 2 players go middle 1 doesn't strike me as something that they thought of as a spur of the moment.
Yeah, that definitely looks like planned out strategy, and you talked about how Meliodas has been passive for all this time, but I think that's what he has to do because free boom with Greeks, that's the best thing you can have.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, it's kind of like players that boom. They're able to boom because their teammates are letting them do it. So on one hand, they look like the heroes, but on the other hand, they still have a job to do. They still have to boom strongly. And, it's kind of like what you said. It's like Meliodas is both really impressive, but it's also kind of expected for him to do this.
Yeah, and by having the better boom, now he has the bigger responsibility because this rush weakened Paladin as well. He invested a lot of resources into rush, and he slowed his opponent down even more, but he is still slow himself, so Meliodas has to carry a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually see this Hanging Gardens here is getting sieged by Dragon here. Exactly what we talked about earlier. Just, unfortunately, it's just a little bit too close to that border. And I really like this play by Dragon here. If he can knock out that Hanging Gardens, that's a huge deal for the length of this game.
Yeah, and it looks like he will be able to because... well, maybe not. I think he's medieval age and he's upgrading to crossbow, but 2 catapults are going at it.
Yeah, you can see that Dragon is just charging in now, actually trying to kill those archers. And, I mean, this Hanging Gardens has not got much health left. It's down to 830 HP, and it's going down every shot it gets. I mean, basically, Linky has to do whatever it takes to try and kill these catapults, but I don't think he has enough.
Yeah, it maybe would have been worth to just bring militia to fight this off, because if you cannot kill the catapults, then he's gonna lose this wonder. This
wonder is definitely going down. Look at those last cannonballs going in here. Sorry, not cannonballs. How much plunder did he get for that? I didn't catch it, but surely it would be nice.
I'll check it for you. Last shot. 250 food.
250 food. Oh, nice little wonder there. And you can see the pressure is going down here on Timeless as well. I don't know how PLA are possibly going to stop this. I mean, this is looking really good for LAT, but at the same time, if any nations can do it, it's probably Indians and British. I feel like they're 2 excellent defensive nations in a situation like this, if they can somehow get the troops in a position where they can be saved.
Yeah, British are still one of the best defensive nations, even though he's not in medieval age, but those archers are so good. And these elephants are really tanky too.
Yeah, and this Royal Companion he's a turncoat. He's joined the green team here. Nice little bribe there by the Senator for Timeless.
Yeah, the famous British, Greek heavy cavalry.
Yeah. That's it. There's a lot of famous units that seem to play for other nations, especially when spies and senators are involved here. And you can see that it looks like Linky is angry. Linky is going for the offensive now. He's pissed off about losing that Hanging Gardens and takes that city with all of these crossbowmen. Look at that crossbow army here. He has 13 crossbows up and starting to show the power of having that Colossus. He's saying, who needs Hanging Gardens? I'm just going to kill you straight up, Dragon Neo. I want revenge for that Hanging Gardens. I wanted somewhere for my children to play and, enjoy that serenity of those gardens. And I'm going to get revenge right now. Sieging that tower as well. It looks like Dragon Neo is going to have to fall back.
Yeah, Dragon Neo did a huge victory by destroying that wonder, but there's another one there which is even stronger, and it gives you such a good boost to your wealth. You can spam those crossbows all day. And he's utilizing this perfectly because Dragoneo is late to medieval age. He's just now ready to click up, and he used this window of opportunity perfectly. I mean, Linky.
Yeah, absolutely. And just wanted to say a quick shout out to everyone who's watching right now. I can see that Hockey Stars in the chat. We've got the original, the man, the myth, the legend, Zen Mechanics. Welcome, guys. Great to see you guys watching along in this exciting game. And please, guys, if you're enjoying this match, please make sure you like the video on YouTube. And secondly, make sure you subscribe too. I'm really keen to make sure you get that notification bell ticked so that you can see, you know, when we play the future games as well, the semi-finals, etc., etc. You can see Oscar Olofsson in the chat too. Hello, how are you? What's the time in Sweden right now?
Must be 3 p.m.
Beautiful.
I think.
3 p.m. I can't think of a better time to be watching some high-quality Ron at this intercontinental battle too. Oh, and look at Dragon Neo. Back to the game now. We can see that he's just aged up to age 3, but that is his capital there, and his Senate has only just started raising, so he will not be able to move his capital unless he can somehow get that Senate destroyed by his own catapults, which doesn't look likely anytime soon. So he's going to have to hold here against Linky.
Yeah, unless Linky does him a favor and destroys that Senate by accident, I don't see how he can move his capital in time. Linky is doing a nice job of healing his damaged units, if you can check that out.
Yeah,
nice touch.
That's a really nice touch. And just a tip for anyone watching, a good thing to do here is you select all your units and then bind your hotkey to middle click for select damaged units. I know you've talked about this before, Dave. You press middle click and then it lets you select the units which are just injured, and you move them into your own territory and allow them to get healed while your fully healed units are at the front, you know, ready to cop a sneak attack just in case.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like the right side has stabilized for PLA, which is perfect for them because Linky is pretty dominant on his side.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, to be honest, I have to take my hat off to Angelo and Timeless. That was an amazing hold. It looked absolutely dire there for a second, and I'm actually surprised that they're still alive here, but perhaps LAT going for an alternate strategy here. You can see that Meliodas is going down the middle, capturing the city, which is going to cause, you know, PLA a lot of problems, but at the same time, it's not getting the killing blow here. Can't help but wonder whether he should have stuck the course and tried to get Glasgow and try and knock out Timeless from the game.
Yeah, it's a common theme with this map. Once the military numbers are set up and the front lines are kind of stuck, it's really hard to break through, kind of like World War I. The trenches are set in the British city and there's not much you can do at this point.
That's so true. And I mean, if we look at the rares, I guess, I know we haven't touched on every single rare in great detail, but you can see that they've got horses, furs, diamonds, and actually obsidian for the LAT guys, or for Dragon Neo at least. While it's there's not a great deal of rares on both sides. You can get Pappy, cotton, and wine for Linky. So a relatively even, you know, non-eventful set of rares. Oh, and big push here against Linky's army. All his militia, I think, are getting pulled here, and it's going to be potentially a game-changing moment whether Linky can hold here or whether Linky needs to retreat, because if Linky loses his siege, that's going to cause huge setbacks. At the same time, though, if Dragoneer loses all of his citizens, it's even worse.
Yeah, this is just a move to buy time, because there's no way that he can continually support his army with that eco now. But if he can destroy Linky's army, that's a huge deal, because he will have so much more time to move his cap and whatnot.
And look at Linky.
It looks like Linky is winning.
Linky is the man of steel right here. I mean, he didn't blink the entire time. He just sat there and copped it like a man. And you can see that Dragoneer, through literally every single thing he had at it, there were so many militia there, and it looks like it barely dented Linky's army. I mean, he's probably down to about half the units, but probably a lesser man would have run away there. Linky just knew he had confidence in his troops. He doesn't even have the armor upgrade yet, and it was just enough to hold. Although he does have a second wave coming here. Where did Dragoneer get those units from? They came from nowhere. Maybe they were healing up.
Yeah, I think he saved some of his units, and that was a good call, because That castle is gonna still buy him some more time. I think he cannot rush in for the city yet. And Dragoneer is doing a good job of harassing Linky's units because he's trying to heal up his crossbows, but the ones in the front are getting attacked now.
Yeah, you can see that both Timeless and Dragoneer have just moved their capitals as well, which is important because that definitely changes the game dynamics. It means that Dragoneer is no longer a threat to, potentially be out of the game. He's going to buy his allies more time if he does end up succumbing to Linky in the long term. And you can see that Angelo is going for a sea trip here, going on ferries across to help out his old mate Timeless, who is still under pressure on the right-hand side. Who said that they can't take the scenic route here?
Yeah. Not sure that it's faster to go through the water, but I guess he's in no real danger of getting attacked ships, so it doesn't really make a difference. I don't know why Meliodas is not that close to Gunpowder. I would have expected him to be. Looks like Linky will be able to get there first.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at Linky's library. He's actually getting Mill 3 now, followed by Science 3. He's already queued up. So yeah, he's already got 165, and importantly, he filled up his library. Although, let's cut to Glasgow here. LAT are making a charge, and look at that army of paladins here. He's got a really nice Japanese army. But again, like you said, the British are great at defending, and Timeless is playing this really well. A couple of elephants here to cop damage, and these longwomen are really earning their pay right now. Firing at a rapid rate of knots from behind the city of Glasgow. Really hard to get in there and actually kill them. I feel like LAT need to be careful because if they continue to fight at this consistency, they're going to lose a lot more units than what PLA will.
Yeah, this is really an uphill battle because not only do they fight under enemy territory so they don't get healing, but some of the population is taken up by siege. Their supply line is longer than the enemy. And yeah, it's really difficult because there are towers behind the city as well, so it's harder to capture.
Yeah, look at that supply
I really
line.
can't tell he was winning.
Yeah, this is extraordinary. I mean, just these British longwomen are definitely getting their money's worth, that's for sure, but it just looks like the sheer numbers of Japanese may turn the tide. It looks like Red's units are almost completely dead though, so I think Red was the guy who kind of suicided his army. You see Dragoneer saying in the chat he thinks he's dead, so this may come down to a fight on both sides, who can kill first.
Yeah, Linky is slowly tightening his grip,
Yeah.
so to say.
Yeah,
and he will win his side, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, look at that eco from Linky. I mean, he has a 250 wealth income. That's just, that's what dreams are made of right there.
Yep. And the fact that they took the silver and are not using that is really weird. Okay, Linky is sending a merchant now, but it's a bit late.
Yeah, he is getting that silver now. It does look like the LAT guys are close to giving up, and they may be correct here, but it doesn't feel like it's GG time just yet, although they are experts of the game and they know when they're in trouble. And they know that they needed to capture the city of Glasgow, and so far, I don't know exactly what PLA did, but they defended that brilliantly. Look at that. And, they still have big armies. I mean, I feel like these longwomen just sat there entrenched and fired over 100 arrows and were able to keep LAT at bay.
Yeah. It's really difficult because this mountain also covers, kind of, because you cannot really rush in there because there's not a lot of space, and this is perfect setup for defense. So the fact that LAT couldn't make a decisive victory on the right side is kind of GG territory, because I don't know if Dragoneer can hold for now. He's moving out to attack.
Yeah, he
I
is.
think he should be saving his army.
He's actually running away. So just for sync, I'm at 28 minutes and 42 seconds. And you can see that basically Dragoneer has brought all of his units there and basically forced Linky to turn around. So he's playing exceptionally well. Like, the problem long term is his eco is absolutely shot. He has no money left in the bank, and he's going to take a long time to get back up and running. Whereas Linky has a massive war machine right now. And importantly, he's just hit gunpowder age. And basically he's the first player. He's actually beaten Greeks to gunpowder here. Although Meliodas will be gunpowder very shortly. I don't think this is GG for LAT yet, because if Meliodas can potentially inflict some damage here in the middle with his quick gunpowder, he does have a slight advantage over Angelo, although Angelo just needs food to quick up himself. So yeah, Meliodas really needs to try and make the most of this quick window he has of the tech advantage.
Yeah, it does look like Dragonio did a great job of defending, because he still didn't lose that city of Great Zimbabwe, and I would have expected him to lose that already, but he had really well. It's just that every fight like this takes an even bigger hit on his economy, and with the tech disadvantage now, it's gonna be impossible to stop Ninki, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, each of his units has that +2 extra armor, and there is no way that Dragonir is going to be able to afford that. And look at him, that's the sign of a great player right there. He's getting his ass out of there because he knows that there is absolutely no point whatsoever in taking on Linky's gunpowder army when he has basically no reason to do that.
Yeah, it's time for guerrilla tactics and save your army. Never face your opponent in an open fight because you have no chance. That's the best thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. And save all your citizens, save all your scholars. That's another really important thing, because you just never know when you can somehow, turn around and, like you said, use guerrilla tactics to fight them, punch them where they can't defend, type thing.
Yeah, you might call it cowardly, but it's smart.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing. The only thing more cowardly than running around like a gorilla is losing the game. So I'd rather be a coward than a loser.
Yeah. Big engagement between Angelo and Meliodas. Angelo was a bit later to gunpowder, and the fact that he got instant upgrades on his elephants helped him, but he didn't have a lot, so I think he's losing a bit of ground here.
Yeah, and Meliodas with a nice bribe there by the looks of it. I mean, I didn't know Greeks can build elephants, so I'm assuming he got that poached from an enemy somehow.
Yeah, money can do a lot for you.
And meanwhile, Paladin, actually, he's got nice raid resources, but his wood income is really low. I'm not sure why that's the case, but yeah, that is a bit of a cause for concern. He needs to get that wood up.
I think he got raided because there's a heavy knight by Linky, and he garrisoned all his villagers in the back city, but forgot to ungarrison.
Oh, that's devastating. Yeah, I mean, that's the power of raids. I mean, I reckon the fact that he's garrisoned his units there, that raid has paid crazy dividends when it probably didn't need to be so effective. But yeah, that's just a good move there by Linky, and that's something that's been going on this entire game too. It's not always possible to track every raid, but Linky is well known as one of the best raiders, in the game.
He's been raiding these rares too, and that's a big deal because raiding that first will not give the LAT guys cheaper meal 4.
Yeah, you can see, and you see that Paladin's now finally trying to shoo off that last heavy cavalry, which is raiding his base, and it looks like Dragonio's got this ragtag army of age 3 units. I like what he's doing, but the problem is he's at his final stop now. This is his capital. He's saying to his teammates he thinks it's GG here. Meanwhile, though, Meliodas is making good progress, and he is going for the capital of Linky. Issue for him, though, is it's a desperate move because he knows that Angelo has a similar sized army, and Angelo's... Well, actually, Meliodas is trying to get some nice bribes off here.
Why does Angelo have these hoplites still from ancient age? It's so weird.
Yeah, these two, they're actually doing some work here too. They're actually killing those calves. Oh, Dragonir does move his capital. Excellent move there, right to the very top corner, just in time. This is a game of millimeters so far. Another excellent move by Dragonir. Buys his allies some more time to try and win on their side here.
That's huge because potentially he could survive for a lot longer and boom back, I guess. Problem is that Meliodas is now all open on his cap, and it's not raised.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see Timeless was in so much trouble in the early game, but he's managed to get his eco back up. He's done well, but the problem is he still hasn't aged up yet, and it'll probably he's about to click up, so it won't be too long now. But he's up against the gunpowder army of Paladin, so both teams for LAT, both players on the right hand side have the tech advantage here. But although Meliodas might be getting a bit sloppy here, Angelo has a superior position and superior reinforcement supply lines as well. So if Meliodas loses his entire army for nothing, that's going to set LAT back again.
Yeah, it was really difficult for Meliodas because he knows that he's on a time clock. He has to kill someone fast, and he overextended a bit before securing this city.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt, he did get the cap sack of Linky there. That's a nice little cap sack. I mean, he barely had a single unit, so I don't know how many units he had in radius, but that was nice.
I think militia could have stopped that, but Linky doesn't have militia. That's so sad.
Yeah, a single tower, even a watchtower, I'm pretty sure would have kept the cap sack there from Meliodas. But yeah, well played there by Meliodas. Gets the 500 resources of everything for the cap sack. Meanwhile, Paladin is pushing in, trying to get a kill here on this city. Oh, some nice spy play though by Timeless. I mean, he's talk about guerrilla tactics. He's getting desperate.
How is he holding with just a medieval age army? That is insane.
Yeah.
Against the Monarch too.
Yeah, against Monarch, and I mean, how much? Oh, actually, a bit of a blunder here by Paladin. He hasn't got his tactics upgrade, so maybe that's part of the story. He forgot tactics, which is, yeah, it's a criminal sin in this game. It happens to the best of us, but it can make all the difference when it comes to trying to kill.
Yeah, that armor makes a huge difference, and we can see that his cavalry go down much easier, even though he has the superior technology.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Timeless does have the armor.
Timeless does have armor, even though he's way behind in tech. So, and the important thing too is that if you're against British, I mean, that armor helps so much against, you know, this fast-firing projectiles from the King's Yeomanry. So he's really shooting himself in the foot there by not getting armor sooner. Oh, look at this raid.
I think this is it's a bit of blunder by Timeless. He made 7 heavy ships. I don't know why.
Oh.
It was an infinite queue.
Is he trolling right now? Like, he thinks his team's so far ahead that he's building like 1,000,000 ships just to like rub it into his opponent's face? Like, that's pretty ballsy if he is, because he's about to die here on the right hand side by the looks of it. No, I think that was definitely a mistake, unless we can, hopefully Timeless can tell us what happened there. I'm guessing, like you said, he probably just built one and put it on infinite queue by mistake. Maybe a hotkey.
Angelo does love to go into this water for some reason, so I guess he wanted to escort them safely.
Maybe he's planning to upgrade them to battleships later on in Industrial Age.
Move troops here.
Linky is moving in for this capital.
Oh my god!
There, and Red Fort is about to complete.
Red
oh my
Fort
god,
just
this is huge!
What a Red Fort completion right there! That is the most timely Red Fort I've ever seen. And I mean, it's rare that we see Red Fort used in a way which is like highly strategic and critical to the game, but that was the best Red Fort usage I've seen this entire tournament.
And now Linky is just bailing on that. This was huge that it got finished.
I mean,
but still the threat is still there because now Linky just moves elsewhere.
Yeah, the problem is he'll just go up instead, and there's plenty of good cities to capture here, including the capital of Dragoneer and eventually the capital here of Paladin. I think Paladin seems to think it's GG, and you know, all these players are on like the next level when it comes to gameplay, so they're all assessing, you know, the game balance every moment here, and they're all kind of trying to work out in their heads, you know, who needs to do what to try and keep their chances in this match. You can see that Meliodas is saying he's going to go for Linky's cap again here, so, and this fleet of Timeless is impressive. He's upgraded it to frigates. I'm just not sure what the point of them are, but
yeah, I guess if he made 7, why not upgrade them? Like, commit to it fully, but I don't think it accomplishes much.
I think what he's done here actually is because Paladin tried to capture this city and start to get the you know, the cannon ships. What are they called? I'm forgetting right now.
Oh, the bomb vessels?
Yeah, the bomb vessels, exactly. He's trying to
yeah, that makes sense.
And I mean, yeah, once you get bomb vessels on lakes, it's incredibly frustrating. You can basically kill everything. So I think Timeless, not sure why he built so many, but at least he secures that water and stops those bomb vessels from being a threat. And you can see that Linky looks like he's mopping up here, and Paladin, again, he's typed GG for I think it's the 3rd time, possibly the 4th time in this match so far. So he is not feeling good about their chances, but his teammates, meanwhile, are pushing on, and I encourage them to do so. I mean, Meliodas is doing well here, and he still has a chance. If he can capture Linky's capital and potentially hurt his economy, there's always a way back, even though it seems like they are definitely up against it here.
Yeah, definitely recommend it to always try your best regardless. And it's not like it's completely over yet. PLA has a definite advantage, but they can still make something happen, or at least try to. Paladin has a lot of knowledge banked up. I don't know why he's not using that.
They're all typing the GGs now. GGs coming out from all players. You see the Dragoneer saying GG, well played. And we do get the first player leaving the game. Paladin has resigned. Wow.
What a game.
What a game. That was absolutely a treat to watch. And, you know, just huge dynamic match on lakes of all maps too. I mean, just with that opener from both teams, I was expecting to see, you know, I don't mean to say this in a negative way, but, you know, a kind of boring boom game from both teams. You know, they both hit gunpowder and then one tries to kill first. But this game had it all. I mean, you had mill one from two players. You had two wonders. You had, you know, potentially what would be a Cron MVP move of the game here from Dragoneer, killing that Hanging Gardens early on. But then Linky just holding it down and able to just fight back and kill. So many great moments in this match. I mean, that defense from Timeless and Angela, how did Timeless survive is what I want to know as well here. Moving that capital. How do we possibly award a best player of this match? I mean, what was the best moment for you, Dave? What was the best moment? And also tell us in the chat too. I want to hear. This was insane. I'm speechless. I can't talk anymore. I need 30 seconds of silence.
I don't know. It's been all incredible play from all of these guys. Okay, despite the fact that Dragoneer got steamrolled, kinda, he did an awesome job of surviving, because losing that second city that he had was a huge blow to his economy. He was on the back foot ever since, especially against Colossus, Egyptians. So he did a great job, and I have to commend Timeless as well, especially since he had against an H4 army with an H3 army in the end. That was a huge deal. I would have never expected that to happen.
Yeah, no, that was incredible on all accounts. You can see, so military, Linky with very strong kill-death ratios there. You can also see that, you know, Paladin played really well though. I mean, I feel like both, like there's no player in this match that can sit there and, you know, hang their head in shame. I think everyone stepped up to the task. Everyone did their best, and, you know, they played their role well. And I don't think it would be fair to criticize one player and say, you know, this guy didn't pull his weight, because everyone had a helping hand in kind of making this really dynamic game play out the way it did. I mean, ultimately, yeah, a couple of small blunders here. If you're going to hand out a Mr. Popo award here, I feel like maybe just the unfortunate mistake there of Paladin not clicking up and getting his armor is probably the most obvious one that we can see here. But would it have changed the entire match? Maybe, maybe not. It's really hard to say. But
unlikely that it would have changed much. Maybe with the armor he can push a bit better against Timeless, but I still don't think they would have won this game with that.
Yeah, we can see, and guys, make sure you let us know in the chat. You can see that Moham reckons that the best moment was when Timeless moved that cap, and I must say that is definitely well and truly in the top 3 moments of this match. That was clutch. It came down to literally the last second. You can also see that the entire game was impeccable from Buzz, so Buzz is one satisfied viewer right now. The entire match qualifies as the highlight. Guys, make sure you give us a like too on YouTube if you do enjoy this so far. Make sure you subscribe as well, and hit the notification button so you can see the future games we play. Really appreciate that. You can see Omega reckons that Mill 1 was okay, but you know, just the fact that PLA's their natural you know, resources, like having that hill in the right place, really helped kind of blunt this offense here from LAT. Let's have a quick look at the resource graph, which kind of tells a bit of the story here too. You can see that Timeless was hit hard early on. He's always catching up, but managed to get up there. Meanwhile, Dragoneer did his best up against the wonders of Linky, but yeah, it's just impossible to maintain that 1:1 ratio when you're up against Colossus and a great player like Linky. I feel like Linky had excellent rating as well, and Linky's army, you can see in the military graph here, his army got bigger and bigger and bigger the longer the game went on, making full use of that pop cap. Meanwhile, Dragoneer unfortunately had to pull militia several times. His army was unable to maintain any kind of parity with Linky there. So overall, an excellent match. That was that was incredible. Quickly, let's check the chat again. So Amiga was just saying Middle One was okay. Oh, sorry, we've already read that out. The nations of going Indian and British as well. I mean, do you think going Indian and British turned out to be a masterstroke here?
Maybe. We've seen great defensive potential from them, so I mean, we definitely mentioned that both of these nations are amazing on this map. We just said it's not the best on paper, I guess, but we did not condemn these picks at all. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I mean, they're all strong. It's just, yeah, Greeks, I would agree with you. I'd say Greeks are classically more common. And then, yeah, British are super strong too. But I mean, British are super strong on pretty much, you could argue any map, right? Like, Brits are great. So I don't feel like that's necessarily, a good thing or a bad thing if they're planning to save Brits for another map. So that does mean that, well, let's update that scoreboard. That means first match here goes to PLA, and it is PLA Out of War with one match to their name against LAT Fusion still with nil. So I'm going to load up the second replay so that we can get stuck straight into this second match, which will be on Aussie Outback, which is a bit of a fan favourite. I mean, I think everyone really loves Australian Outback. It's a little known fact that actually the Australian government paid Rasa Nations to include Australian Outback to boost tourism numbers back in 2003. So just a little...
What?
Yeah.
Are you making that up or is that serious?
Look, I may or may not be exaggerating a little bit, but personally, as an Australian, it's great to see some Australian representation. The Australian Outback is a beautiful place to see. So I encourage everyone, once this virus hopefully dies off, and if you ever get the chance, it's a great place to come visit, and you can come visit me. I'll be happy to host you here at my house. So I'm in the match now at 0 second mark. Let's dive in right now. So 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Go.
All right, so Aussie Outback, and already we can see that LAT are spawning towards the top right-hand side of this match. It is 1-0 to PLA against LAT Fusion. The first game on Great Lakes was a classic match, and it's going to be interesting to see how LAT responds here. Let's have a quick look at the nations. We have LAT choosing tiers 2, 3, and 4 here for the second match. They've gone with British for Paladin, they've gone Nubians for Dragon Neo, and Chinese for Meliodas against PLA's. PLA have gone for Bantu for... Is there a double up of Bantu here? I'm just a bit confused for a second. Did they pick Bantu in the last game? Sorry, I'm probably getting confused. So they've gone Bantu, Nubians, and Chinese. So basically a mirror matchup here, except for the fact that Bantu and British are different.
LAT picked Bantu on the last game. So
that's why I'm getting confused.
That's okay.
Yeah, of course. So basically, yeah, they've swapped their tier 2 picks from the last match. So Bantu versus Bantu versus British here. So I think who do you think has the edge here on Aussie Outback?
I'm not sure, because I think British are better suited for this map because you can raid the water and the British make ships faster. So I think this is a better suited map for British, but Bantu are not worse at all. They can raid the land if they want to. They have really strong boom. So I cannot judge any of these picks, to be honest. Chinese for tier 4 is perfect. It's probably one of the best maps for Chinese because you can grab more land with them, and cheaper science is always great on boom maps. And Nubians, again, perfect pick for this map, I would say.
Yeah, British are incredibly strong. I mean, it's almost cliche at this point how we always say British are like, superpowers on Aussie Outback, but there's a lot of truth to it. The fact that there's so many fish which are accessible means that you can just basically fill up that wealth cap nice and easy, and then just ride that to a nice mid game. And you can see that already in the chat. You can see that some guys are asking as well, why isn't Coco playing? And that's a really good question. I mean, personally, I was also surprised that Coco didn't play a single game here. In fact, I'm surprised at the roster in general because LAT has so many good players on their team. Coco, I feel like, is one of their best. He was very active. Apparently, Coco couldn't play for personal reasons. I don't know much more than that, but maybe it clashed with his work or he had to travel, something of that nature. But yeah, it's a bit of a loss there for LAT because I do feel like Coco is probably a slight improvement on Meliodas, and that's not to say anything bad about Meliodas. He's also really good, but Coco is kind of like, you know, one of those MVPs that you want playing for your team.
Yeah, I remember that when I was casting the LAT versus AS, Coco was really an MVP in all of those games.
Yeah, it's funny because I always thought Coco possibly was a Smurf of Azteca, and then they both played in one of the first matches in Nomadium, and it kind of confirmed to me that no, they're definitely different players. I just maybe that's how impressed I was with Coco that I thought he could potentially be a Smurf.
Okay, seems that PLA has Papyrus in their territory. That's great to have. As well as Gems and Silk.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that combo of having Pappy as well as Gems and Silk, it's pretty much you know, the dream team combo here. I'm just trying to find Pappy. Can you help me find it on the map? Oh, it's right in front of where I was looking, sorry. So that's really handy. And I mean, automatically you have to say from a early game perspective, PLA are in prime position to get Commerce 2 and possibly Science 2 before they go Age 2 here.
Yeah. And does look like LAT has a bit weaker share of the rares. They do have relics and diamonds, which is huge, especially for Nubians, but and they have sugar as well, so that's really nice.
Yeah, that is true.
But I don't see any... Oh, never mind. Silver is there as a library rare, so I think LAT is gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's actually, surprisingly, the Rasa Nations gods have served us up a pretty good set of rares here that's fairly balanced. I feel like, you know, Silk and Pappy on their own, if LAT had really bad rares, that would be a little bit unbalanced, but it's well balanced here. I mean, sugar, diamonds, you know, on any map, they're always great rares to have, and it's kind of complemented with a nice little range here. They've got peacocks on the left-hand side they should be able to secure. They've got cotton, they've got potentially furs as well, which is right on the border on the right-hand side.
Well, it's true. Actually, I might be leaning towards LAT's rares more now.
Yeah.
Now that I look at it.
Yeah.
They have just more of the quality rares, I think.
I feel like the more I talk, the more I can convince you to change your mind, because if you look at PLA though, they've also got salt to kind of counterbalance that.
That's what I'm talking
and they've
about.
got horses as well and wine. So it's almost like I can't really decide, to be honest, which set of rares I would go for here, because I naturally am inclined to go for Silk. I mean, Silk is so good on this map. Getting Commerce 2 for 315 food is just like the best thing in the world. But at the same time, you know, I'm never
like one of those best discounts at the supermarket, right?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, whenever you see that 315, you're just like, sold. I'm getting it for that price every day of the week, and then you're just going to build another 5 fishermen and get an incredible wealth income coming in. And an important moment here, Meliodas going for Civ 1, and I really like this move. You know, sometimes map control and just securing your rares is vitally important the longer the game goes on, and he knows that he's close to Bantu here. Bantu,
exactly.
Under Linky, going for commerce just for a standard kind of, you know, more economic build, but he has no chance now of securing that sugar.
Yeah, I was about to say that sugar might be up for contest since it was close to the border, but not anymore. So that's a good move by Meliodas, I think. And with the Chinese city, it's gonna push even further.
Yeah, you can see that we've got some agreement from the chat here. PN5 Lube, or formerly of PN5, I'm not sure about that, is saying that Silk is the greatest of all time, and I think that there can be no disagreement on this map. Not on all maps though, but definitely on this map. I feel like Silk is the GOAT. It's the Tom Brady of the Rasa Nations. I was going to say another sport, but I don't know who the greatest is. If you say Messi or Ronaldo, you'll probably just end up getting into a fight.
Yeah. Aaron is asking who won. You can see the score on the top. So the first game was won by PLA, but we would like to avoid any spoilers of the future games, so we don't want to know.
Yeah, so please, we'll just, we're basically casting this live shortly after they were played, so we both have no idea, and it's always much more exciting when we find out at the same time that everyone else does as well.
Interesting development. Paladin went for Meal 1, and Blinky did the same. I think they are both looking to raid the enemy, but it looks like they will have to fight each other.
Yeah, this is kind of like one of those, kind of awkward moments where they both think that they're the first guy going to raid, and this sugar merchant might get caught out of position here. He's trying to pack it up, just sees the heavy infantry, but I'm not sure if he's going to be fast enough here. It's going to be close. He looks like he will get back into that city just in time. Yes, he is secured, and thanks to his teammate Paladin there. Ooh, interesting development though. Let's look at this tech builder from Timeless. He's the Nubian player here. He's gone straight for age 2, and that's an 8-minute, that was a 7-minute age here, 7 minutes 50 something. Straight for the Colossus. He is not holding back whatsoever. And look at that tactic. I mean, the fact is Linky's gone for that early mill to protect him as well. So nice team play here from PLA.
Oh, definitely. I didn't expect the Nubian player to grab the wonder, but actually Nubians are one of the best to do that because they have such a nice start and they can use the market if needed. So this is a great move by Timeless because securing that Colossus is gonna be huge.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that Colossus, for anyone who's new to Rise of Nations, Colossus is just a brilliant rare to have because it gives you 30% more wealth income and it gives you unlimited population. Well, not unlimited, it gives you plus 50, which in this game, let's be honest, you're never going to fill it. So you can basically, at least not for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, and it looks like Dragonair is not going to let Timeless build this Colossus without a fight. Sending some units in behind here to try and raid this Colossus and slow it down. He is the Nubian player.
Yeah, we'll still go up though.
Yeah, you can see that basically Linky is playing defensive here. He will be able to push these units away, so there's no threat here. Oh, although Paladin's actually raiding from behind, so Timeless attracting a lot of attention with this Colossus. But the important thing is once he gets it up, like, you know, the good thing about Colossus in a protected position like that is you've got it for the entire match. So he might be a bit slow to begin with, but once he gets his Colossus finished and he gets his eco up and running, it's going to be a bit of a threat for LAT.
Yeah, I don't think LAT accomplished much with these raids. Maybe delayed the Colossus a bit, but Linky is here to help and he will clear up these units. Interesting fact that LAT has got all their docks on the right side, meanwhile PLA has all their docks on the left side, so it makes it really difficult to raid, but Linky is not screwing around, he's still raiding the enemy ships.
Yeah, I mean Linky is like a robot, just the way he raids and booms at the same time is something...
Doesn't care.
It's something that you see in like professional esports such as, you know, StarCraft 2, but I just feel like he's translated those skills across to Rise of Nations where he can just do everything. And I mean, a lot of, you know, pro players can do that, but just Linky is the most consistent of anyone I've ever seen.
Yeah, just multitasking like this with the land raids and water, it's really difficult, and doing both at the same time and not losing your units is quite a challenge.
Yeah, exactly right. And hello to everyone in the chat right now. You can see we've got 31 people watching this awesome match between LAT and PLA. This is a quarterfinal and it's a best of 5, so it's the first team to reach 3 wins here, and so far we've only played 1 game. This is the second match and it is a 1-0 scoreline in favour of PLA.
That's right. Didn't see any particularly crazy libraries from anyone yet. Angelo did go for Science 2, but with Chinese and Pappy that's completely normal. I think most of the other players went for standard builds pretty much.
You can see how aggressive both teams are with their raids. I mean, you can see Angelo only has one merchant at the moment, and I think that's because a lot of his merchants have been killed already. Meanwhile, Linky's, as we talked about already, is doing an excellent job with these bowmen and also this, light infantry of Bantus.
Yeah, he's made a huge investment into these bandages. He has 6 units. It's normally not the norm, you see, but with Bantu, the great thing with Bantu is that he can deal a lot of damage, and if he gets surrounded, he can still run away with his units, and that's what we're seeing. He can save all these units for Classical Age.
Wow, and I'm just showing the viewers right now in the playback. I'm putting it on Linky's view right now, just so that everyone can see how fast this guy is. I mean, it is like watching it's like watching the screen blink. He is doing so many things at once, and just multitasking like an absolute madman. And that's just some of the crazy speed that you can have in this game, and just completely dominate. Because unfortunately, the human brain can only do so many things at once for mere mortals like us. Well, actually, I speak for myself, Dave. You can do the same thing. I've seen you do it. But for players like yourself and Linky and the top tier pros, it's just I take my hat off because it's just a joy to watch.
Thank you. Not many people say that to me, but yeah. I still can't believe that Linky is using kind of a zoomed in view. I don't know why, but maybe he has a bigger monitor than I do.
Yeah, you can see Dragoneer is also very quick as well. I'm just having a quick look at his first person view as well. Jumping all over the shop. It's just insane. But yeah, fortunately it's too fast for us to see the action, so I'm going to take it off for a moment. Let's have a quick look at how this game's shaping up. So we've got, as you said, Science 2 from Angelo versus a standard tech choice from Dragoneer, who's across from him. That's the Chinese versus Nubian fight. Then you have here in the middle, Timeless has gone for Science 2. He's got the Colossus. His eco is absolutely booming. One thing Timeless really impresses me with is he's a great boomer. He is exceptional at booming and then, raiding at the same time as well. Haven't seen him raid this game because he doesn't really need to. Linky's taking that role. And he's up against, Meliodas, who's just gone for a standard tech build. Decent eco from Meliodas, but, nothing to particularly talk about at the moment. While Linky is playing as the low eco player here, his food income's actually quite low here. And you can see that he's getting raided by Paladin. So it's their fish are actually under threat at the bottom left here. So this is where Linky can kind of make the most of his units, but his eco is actually suffering. He invested a lot into those raids.
Yeah, both Azteca and Linky have invested so much into raids that they're both really slowed down. And I'd like to point out that no one on the LAT team has particularly great boom. Perhaps Dragoneer has the best, but no one really comes close to Timeless at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do think that Timeless is just an absolutely superb eco, and he's making the most of his Nubian powers here. He's getting as many merchants as he can, and also importantly, he's got 13 scholars, nearly 14 scholars, and 115 knowledge income. While Dragoneer is a little bit slow to build his second university, and I feel like that's something that he needs to get onto if he wants to try and stay within the grasp, either building another uni or building a Hanging Gardens here.
Yeah, we only seen one wonder so far, which is quite surprising. I would expect LAT to at least build one counter wonder. I don't know if they want to win this in the long run or try to rush, but as things are looking, PLA has the better boom. Only Linky is quite slowed down, but that's expected since he's been raiding so much and being raided all the time.
Yeah, exactly right. And I'm just having a quick look. Looks like Linky starting to stabilize a bit here with his eco.
Yeah, and if he can get his eco rolling with that commerce too, it's gonna be great with Bantu. But still, he's a threat to be attacked by Meliodas and Paladin here. In fact, Meliodas is preparing his siege now.
Yeah, Meliodas is building his siege. And you see that Dragoneer He's starting to get his boom going a little bit more, but still hasn't filled up his second university. I just wonder if Angelo's going to go for some aggression here. He's building catapults, and he's going to probably be able to snipe these barracks and stables.
Yeah, it's being annoying with the tower in between these two cities. And forward barracks and stables are definitely not a good idea to have when you're defending.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see in the
You
chat.
can see some complaints about lag.
Yeah. This is not good. It's good for us because we don't see any of the lag, but you can just imagine that these players are from battle-hardened lag nations, being Chinese and Latin American countries. Hopefully they're used to playing with lag, but how does it differ your game if you're playing with lag as opposed to a non-laggy game?
Well, it's pretty difficult to micro, so if you have a nation that's micro-intensive, that's gonna hurt you a lot. While if you have a nation like British who doesn't have to micro that much, that actually helps you. So the thing that people say about lag, that it affects everyone equally, is actually not true.
Yeah, that's so true. And I mean, yeah, I guess in this instance, perhaps Linky is the one who's microing more. Do you think it would advantage Linky to lag or to just play at full speed?
I think it's a disadvantage for him at this point.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to tell. I saw that Paladin wrote in the chat that he has 3 minutes for this game. I'm not sure if that's a mind game or not, but I don't think this game is gonna finish in that time, to be fair.
Yeah, and he said that to everyone as well, so it wasn't like he just said it to his teammates. Maybe it was some mind games there.
Yeah, maybe to make PLA think that LAT is gonna over-invest into Rush. I don't know.
Yeah, and it could also be frustration as well. I mean, I do get the sense that Paladin is one of those players where he was the one to type GG 3 or 4 times before they actually ended up GG.
Yeah.
In the last match.
Kind of an even fight on the left side. Looks like Angelo will have to pull back for a bit because his units are not upgraded.
Yeah, and you can see it at the 18-minute and 10-second mark. You can see that Hanging Garden's going down here from Dragoneer. So like we talked about, I'm surprised that it's got to 18-minute mark and no one's built it, but Dragoneer taking full advantage. I mean, that's a nice wonder to pick up here.
Yeah, and even not building it sooner is not such a mistake, perhaps, because then he will be much more open to getting attacked. This is a safe point in the game where you can build a wonder and not get rushed, I guess. I don't know if LAT can make further progress on the right hand side, because now Timeless has arrived and he's building up quite a massive army now. He has an impeccable economy as well.
Yeah, Timeless has an amazing economy. 192 wealth coming in, 125. He hasn't quite filled up his last university yet, but he's actually applying a lot of pressure. I mean, look at this city of Kamnana. It was captured, but it looks like Paladin won't be able to hold it.
It's hard to tell because Meliodas keeps losing his units. That's a tendency that I've noticed in the first game too. But one of his mistakes was not retreating in time, and again this is really biting LAT in the back because Paladin is alone to fight here and he cannot hold this city anymore.
Yeah, that's so true. You can see Angelo is now sieging down the city on the left-hand side. Both players have basically filled up their ecos now, although there's some really savage raiding on the water here. You can see that there is their barks going at it, fighting each other all around the map. So
yeah,
this is kind of like
Paladin has done a great job of raiding, I think, all game.
Yeah, so true. I mean, he's trying to carry this LAT team in the raiding stakes here, and I mean, it's basically the Paladin show versus the Linky show when it comes to those water and land raids. Oof.
It's difficult to tell who's winning at this point, but if Timeless can make best of his situation now. I think they can win on the right side. But now with the Hanging Gardens, Dragonio has the edge over Angelo, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if only Angelo had built that, I feel like he probably would have had a slight advantage. But, I mean, Dragonio's, his knowledge income's 170, and he hasn't even filled out hardly any of his universities. He's only got 8 scholars at the moment, but he is spamming scholars as much as possible. So he'll have 21 scholars soon enough, and once he gets that, yeah, undisputedly, he'll be by far the largest, highest knowledge income. I mean, he does have relics too, so that's automatically with his nation bonus, right?
Yeah.
34 income just from relics alone.
And the fact that they have silver and first is really nice to have, because if they didn't, then fighting against Papyrus and Silk would be really tough, but I feel like this is a good balance.
Yeah, this is really,
some more complaints in the chat.
Yeah, you can see that Meliodas, obviously both players feeling stressed by the lag. And I'm not sure who was at fault here, but I believe it was a clash between Linky and Meliodas. From memory is what one of the players told me. So yeah, it's definitely messing with their mindsets. I think it rewards whichever team can stay cool and calm under pressure.
It's definitely annoying when it's a land. I mean, when it's a water map, and water maps are by nature much longer usually, and the lag just makes it even longer. So I can definitely understand their frustration.
Oh, and look at
And
this.
I don't.
Oh, sorry
Yeah,
to
go
interrupt
ahead.
you. Dragon Neo's just got his tactics. I'm not sure if he's posturing for an attack here, but it looks like he is going to go for an ambush. Oh, sorry, it's a force march, actually. So he's just going for a straight-up attack on Angelo. Angelo may be caught out of position. I wonder if Angelo will take this fight or not. Angelo definitely does not have his tactics, although he has got mill 3, so just hasn't clicked tactics yet.
This looks like a better fight for Dragon Neo. And indeed, Angelo is pulling back now.
Yeah,
City will help him.
that was a really nice engagement, actually. I mean, it's not like a game-changing one, but I think he got the better end of it for sure.
Yeah. And it looks like Linky has stabilized now. His eco is really good. It's even better than Paladins, actually. And he can make a lot of army now with the Bantu extra pop cap. And not to forget, the Timeless has extra population as well, so the military potential is insane for them.
Oh, nice attack here by Linky. Catching Paladin a little bit off guard. He was getting a little bit too forward with his longbowman and lost a couple of units there, but he's well and truly in a nice defensive position now. And Linky needs to also be careful. I feel like Linky's overextending a little bit here.
He did kill the Senator, though. He might be able to push here because having no Senator at the defensive position hurts a lot.
Yeah, no armor on any of these archers. And no healing.
And Linky has a really nice army composition too. He doesn't have heavy infantry, which are shredded by British archers normally.
Oh, and just to bring your attention to the city of King Dao, looks like Timeless has pushed in here and has captured that city. And you can see Meliodas has actually a decent army of Chinese units here. But
yeah, a lot of it is just militia though. But if Timeless keeps fighting under this castle fire, that could help out Meliodas a lot.
yeah, I mean,
Those cavalry are making good job.
I do wonder if maybe Timeless thought that was a great chance to attack, or maybe he just got a little bit trigger happy there because, you know, he does have Colossus and he's about to age up. So sometimes with a bit of rise of patience here, he could turn that into a gunpowder death ball. But,
Yeah,
but
I do think that capturing the city was a great move because it gives you the plunder and weakens Meliodas a bit. But perhaps retreating a bit after that would have been a wiser move. Still, he managed to preserve most of his army, so I guess it's not that bad.
yeah, I mean,
It's not looking great for Angelo on the other side.
Yeah, the fact that he reset the caravan routes for Meliodas is a big enough advantage in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see that Paladin's doing well. He's kind of playing a bit of guerrilla warfare, but his eco is nowhere near as strong as Linky's.
Yeah, even though he has all that extra commerce cap, but he doesn't have the extra population to fill it out, really.
And there's fights on all sides of the map. You can see Angelo and Dragon Neo sparring on the bottom left. Linky versus Paladin, and then Meliodas versus Timeless here.
And also, Dragon Neo is doing a great job on water. He's been raiding for the past few minutes and really effectively too.
This is when my job controlling the observing is really difficult. There's so much going on. I'm trying not to miss the action here.
Hey, dude, little help
You can see that Dragon Neo thinks now is the time to charge. And it looks like he's got a nice unit composition here. Plenty of horses up against what's mostly fire lancers there. Angelo will retreat.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we can see that could be a bit of a double here, or a reverse double. Reverse double here on Meliodas, but he does have nice tower placement there, zones him out and allows him to retreat in safety. Some nice
Yeah, those are nice defensive towers there.
Yeah, like perfectly placed there. Really well done there by Meliodas. I like the fact that it gives him that buffer of, you know, pressing the issue, using that range of these fire lancers, but then being able to retreat without losing his entire army.
Timeless and Dragon Neo, both of the Nubian players are going to gunpowder.
Yeah, Timeless has just aged up now. So let's have a look at his upgrades. He's getting Arquebusiers as his first thing, but I'm guessing he'll get his heavy cav very soon, and once he does, that's going to be definitely a big threat. Wow, look at that eco of Dragon Neo. Surely he's not far away from gunpowder. Yeah, he's clicking up. He's about to age as well. So
the thing is that he's limited by pop cap, but he still should be able to defeat Angelo, because Angelo is a bit delayed to gunpowder, and also his eco is not the best. I guess he lost a lot of fish, and that's why his birth income is so bad at the moment.
yeah, so true. And you can see that Timeless is not wasting any time. He's not even waiting for his heavy knight upgrade to finish. He wants to kill Meliodas as soon as possible by the looks of it.
Yeah, he's out for blood. And yeah, at this point he can move in because all of his upgrades are there, except for heavy pikeman, but I guess that's not the most important upgrade to have. He could get monarchy at this stage, and he is getting that.
Yeah, I mean, he is getting monarchy, which is going to be really important. The first one to get monarch. And look at this. Linky is coming across, and it's leaving Paladin high and dry here. Looks like they will go for the double, and Meliodas in an awkward position. All of his units are right in front of his cities. If they were placed more safely behind, they'd be a lot more effective at defending. He does retreat through those tiny gaps. Nice building placement, because it does make it tricky for the PLA guys to effectively capture this, but they do capture the city with sheer units alone. And look at Timeless's army. He can now siege from the safety of behind, although he is copping some castle fire. So I really like this building placement by Meliodas. It's actually serving its purpose really well.
Yeah, this was a great move by Linky, because Paladin was a bit slow to react, and now the damage is already done to Meliodas. It's gonna be difficult to counterattack now, especially since none of them are gunpowder. So it's all on Dragon Neo, and it looks like he's rotating around to help.
Yeah, Angelo is actually, you know, he wants to have some fun too. He's like, guys, you can't have all the fun without me. So he's brought his army across to help this triple here on this center city, and great move by PLA. Although Dragon Neo has a superb economy, superb knowledge income, I feel like the longer this game goes on, potentially if LAT can stabilize here, Dragon Neo is on track to reach Enlightenment Age first.
Yeah, still it's a long way to get there. But yeah, Dragon Neo does have the best knowledge income at the moment. Still, this deciding battle will be the focus of the game for now.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like Timeless has to be careful. I mean, he has the Colossus army, and he's pretty much lost not his entire army, but you know, the lion's share of it. Meanwhile, Dragon Neo pretty much reigning supreme. He came in and mopped that up, and he's not under pressure on his side of the map. He could just stay here if he wanted to, but obviously he's quite far away from his supply lines. That's the only reason he probably needs to go back eventually.
Some nice counter raids on the water by PLA now. Looks like LAT's eco is gonna suffer more now.
Yeah, look at that border. I mean, if you click on LATs, it's almost like they've got a little patch of fish on the right-hand side there, but they don't have any aggressive presence, so it does seem like PLA is winning the water fights at the moment.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Timeless lost a big chunk of his army, and that hurts a lot, especially when you have Colossus, because now there's all that pop cap not filled out. 55 more units could be made, but it's gonna be a long way to get there.
Yeah.
Dragonio looks stronger now.
You can see that Dragonio actually has a slightly better economy now than
and he even built Porcelain Tower, which is huge because now his relics give plus 74 knowledge.
Yeah. Wow. Porcelain Tower goes down for Dragonio. That is insane. As the Nubian player, let's have a quick look at this, just for anyone who doesn't know. Try and guess before I click on it. How much knowledge income is he going to get from this relics? He's got Porcelain Tower. That is 74 knowledge income from one ruin alone. That is just insane.
It gives 50% more than Hanging Gardens. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's just from one merchant alone gives you 74. I've never ever seen that. But that's the power of Nubians right there. And I mean, has he even got his vassalage upgrade? That'll get even higher, I think, once he gets his civic and gets his temple upgrade.
Yep.
I believe he can get it up to 80 once he gets that upgrade. So, yeah, this is turning out to be an interesting game. I feel like Paladins definitely hasn't got the edge on Linky. I think Linky's got the upper hand, but I mean, Meliodas is surprising me here.
Meliodas still doesn't have his units upgraded. This is a huge deal because he's fighting without the upgrades, and Timeless is gonna definitely win this fight, even though the castle is still there.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, he says in the chat, I won't continue, that this lag effed my pointer. This is not good for Meliodas. Looks like he's self-imploding here. Dragonio says, we win, hold. Dragonio is going in here, and Dragonio has a way better army than Angelo. I feel like Angelo is probably dead here in the long term. Although he...
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a second. We're having some lag issues here. It looks like an out of sync.
What?
This is at the 32-minute mark. You can see in the chat, I'm going to the corner, I'm micro. I told Blast it's morning here, we play at this time. Second game here, finishing in controversy. It looks like we've had an out of sync here. And actually, I did talk to Meliodas after the game, and I believe he told me that there were lots of really bad lag issues here between the two players. I think it was basically conflicting between Linky and Meliodas. But yeah, it looks like the game has stopped here. I'll just quickly check because I believe we had another replay that was played. So basically, what happened, just so everyone knows, is I must admit I knew in advance that there was a game which dropped. Or basically, it didn't really drop, but it was lagging really, really bad. And then I believe Meliodas actually, it got so bad that he basically lagged out. And they weren't sure what to do. And the rules state that if a player drops when their team's losing, then the other team gets the win. But if a player drops and the game's still in the balance and both teams agree, then it's a rematch. So, I mean, if you were the referee of this game, Dave, who do you think was winning and what do you think would be the fair outcome here?
I would love to check the stats, but my game crashed after that auto sync.
Yeah, same.
Looks like the scores are about even, and usually that's a good indicator of what's going on. I would say that this game was not really decided yet, so I would not award any team in this situation with a win.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, just so you know, I actually talked to one of the players after this match because they did need to get a decision made. And yeah, actually, ironically, I watched this game as a referee in advance. And I had to make the same decision. I thought, basically based on the way this has played out, I thought that Dragon Neo still had a chance of winning his side. He had Porcelain Tower, it's Nubians. And even though Meliodas lost his entire army, it seems like they were going to win this side, but at the same time, Dragon Neo could probably come across and push back Timeless here. So officially, I believe it was a draw, but I'm actually a little bit surprised, to be honest, because there was a... Yeah, there was a second replay. So actually, this game was rematched. And to be perfectly honest, we normally don't cast games which drop because it leaves the fans wanting... I mean, everyone wants to get a result here, and all we've got here is a draw. But yeah, it looks like I probably sent you the wrong replay, to be honest. So I'm sorry, Dave, but that was an epic match still. I can't believe we watched this entire game. And just so you know, as we were playing it, I thought this was the right game until we got to about the middle point, and then I realized that it was actually this game that drops. But it was so exciting that I thought I don't want to just stop it halfway. So apologies there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So
I mean, it was still an interesting game, so
yeah, that was still
no harm done, I think.
That was still a really good game, and yeah, it's just a shame that it dropped at the time it did. I'd love to hear what the fans think, you know, of who was winning there, because I really don't know which way it would have gone. I feel like, yeah, it's one of those ones that's probably, look, if someone put a gun to my head, I'd say probably, I think PLA maybe had the momentum in the middle there. The fact that Meliodas' army had just been knocked out and Timeless was kind of getting that control there. Maybe they go on to win, but at the same time, yeah, it's hard to say. So anyway, we'll have to just leave that one as a 0-0 game. I'll just quickly check in the chat. So I've loaded up the correct replay now, which is these players actually are doing a rematch. Let's just have a quick look at look at the chat. So we have Irush with Dutch saying that PLA was winning, but Dragonia might have killed Angelo in time to save them. Yeah, I think that's very possible. And Irush with Dutch is a very good player, so I have a lot of respect for his opinion. We can see that Amiga is saying that Blue was aiming for age 5, and yeah, I think with that Porcelain Tower and relics and all those, he had other rares too, so I mean he could have easily aged well before any other player. We've got Oscar agrees with Dutch. Amiga reckons 50-50. It wouldn't be wrong without an out of sync. Why don't they reload and continue playing, guys? Goofy, just so you know, unfortunately you can't do that because there is actually a feature that you can load games when they drop, but unfortunately it means that we can't watch the replays afterwards, and it's also quite buggy as well. But more importantly,
there are like 3 different reasons why that we don't do that. One is that we cannot cast the replay because it's broken, but even if it wasn't, players can check the whole map when the game drops. That's number 2. And number 3 is that sometimes it bugs out for the players as well. Some players complain that they are constantly zoomed in and cannot do anything about it, so that would quite limit their gameplay as well.
Yeah, so yeah, and a good question there from Goofy. He said, so if the game dropped, why do we waste 30 minutes of watching something which will not count to the end result? The answer to that is we completely agree. We actually didn't mean to cast this game, to be perfectly honest. It was just a mix-up of the replays. So they have rematched that game. To be honest though, like you said, even though it was a game which didn't count towards the result, it was still an epic match, and I feel like yeah, a draw is a fair result there. And now we're going to see a rematch on the exact same map, probably the exact same nations. So I'm now in the correct replay now. Dave, you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Okay, it looks like positions are a bit switched. Now the Nubian player for PLA, Timeless, is on the flank, and Angelo with the Chinese in the pocket.
Yeah,
I
this is
think
going to...
he's on the other side.
This is going to take a while to get used to it because we've just watched this exact same teams play on Aussie Outback, and now this is the rematch, and you can see that PLA is kind of on the old historic Four Valley side on the right hand side here, which is a shout out to when Four Valley.
When we see us.
Sorry, what was that?
We see a switch in players. Hugo replaced Maniodas.
Yeah, we can see that. You're exactly right, and I do know that Meliodas was the player in that last game who had to drop because the clash was so bad. So basically what happened, I think we alluded to it in the beginning, but as an emergency ruling, generally speaking, the rule is that no team can have more than 5 players on the active roster. But the problem for LAT was that due to circumstances outside of their control, they had several players unable to continue. So they asked if Hugo can play for LAT. He hasn't played for another team, so generally speaking, besides the 5 players per team rule, there was no issue with his eligibility. So PLA were kind enough to allow that. So I'd really like to thank PLA for their sportsmanship here in not having any issue and letting these games continue.
Yeah, I also think this was for the greater good, because now that Meliodas is not in the game, it seems that they don't have any lag issues. Like they said in the chat, that it's completely fine. So
yeah, and you can actually see, look at that. So Paladin, they've actually chosen different nations here. Paladin was British.
God, Timeless's market is in enemy territory. And he cancelled it. What?
Oh,
well,
wow.
I guess he had to, but that's such a huge loss. He cannot build another one now.
Yeah, that can be an issue. Is basically, I've only seen it in rare instances, but if you build like your market there and it gets into the enemy territory and he gets a senator, you can actually bribe someone's market. So that would have been probably pretty unlikely. It would have burned down by then. But yeah, this is actually shaping up to be already a very interesting front here. Timeless as Nubians versus Hugo as Chinese.
This is a huge blow to the Nubian player, because he lost the wood, he cannot get his market up in time. And Hugo did a great push here. He grabbed the front line.
Yeah.
And I guess he's gonna be really annoying for the rest of the game here.
Oh,
and same for the other side, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like Hugo is probably going to have a faster start now. I mean, Chinese, I know they're tier 4, but I feel like they're probably one of the strongest tier 4s there is. Like, you know, Chinese and Maya are kind of a cut above the other tier 4s, in my opinion at least. And, I mean, Nubians are strongest when they're kind of protected and can boom up and get their market up. But you can see that Timeless is basically resorting to panic mode here. He's not building a market at all. And he's just going for a standard opening. I don't mind that, but it just shows that he's kind of been rattled a bit by what's happened here.
Yeah, he's also got a bit unlucky because his only rare is copper. But he does see diamonds next to Angelo, because yeah, he does see it, and that would be good to use even if he's a bit delayed to get there.
And the LAT guys have to be licking their lips here. I mean, Paladin has just pinged this woodcutter camp of Timeless, and it's in such a vulnerable position here because it's literally no way his citizens can run away without going back through this narrow chokehold. So if they can somehow go early mill, and I mean Paladin's shown a history of going early mill, I'd be curious to see if he might build an early Rax here.
Even a fast second city could disrupt that whole wood income there.
Yeah, I mean, China is also another potential there. I mean, a large city right here, if the, I think the space will allow it just, that's really going to throw out Timeless incredibly.
Just to the guys in chat, let us know if the audio is working well, because I do hear some distortions on your side, but for me it's no problem. But if the viewers hear it too, then we should try to fix it.
Yeah, sounds good. So just my microphone is a little bit distorted, is that right?
Yeah, on my end at least.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Hopefully...
Could be Skype.
Yeah, it could be Skype, in which case Hopefully it's okay for the viewers because it should go direct to the cast. But yeah, that's not good for you. I want you to hear the best, best quality voice you can. So,
it seems fine for the viewers, so no problem. Good.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. And first big move of the game here, you can see that Dragon Neo is grabbing all of his poker chips. He's pushing them into the middle. Okay, he's not quite going all in here, but he's going for middle one. And Dragon Neo is playing as Nubians again. Interesting choice going middle one. I guess
this is yeah, I guess this is more of a defensive middle one, because he has Bantu right in front, and he would expect Linky to raid him.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, maybe a bit of mind games too. I mean, he knows that Linky went for early raids in the last game as Bantu, and he's quite close. I mean, that's middle one territory. Look how close he is with that border, and his wood is also very vulnerable. Yeah, he's building a tower, not taking any chances, and I can't say I blame him, to be fair. I mean, yeah, it's probably a necessary precaution. Although, if Linky ends up booming behind this, ironically, it's going to mean that Linky will probably come out ahead.
Yeah, it might seem like Dragon Neo is investing too much into defending all those villagers being in the tower. It's kind of panic mode, but it's nice touch that Nubians can use these furs, and he did use that to get me one, so that was a nice discount for him.
And I'll just bring your attention to this woodcutter camp for Timeless here. I mean, it's like Paladin read my mind. He's going for this early mill attack, pumping out hoplites.
Yeah.
The only thing is he needs to get an archer in there. That's the only tip I would advise him of if I was his coach, because just very hard to get a kill off. Although he is forcing Timeless to panic here and run away with a lot of his citizens.
Angelo went to meal 1 too, but the problem is Hugo has his seal 1 now, and he will probably place the city there.
Yeah, I mean, if he can place a city in that to protect that barracks, it's going to be the perfect positioning there. And that's going to put LAT in a very dominant position in this early game, if they can pull it off, because Angelo is kind of in a tricky spot too. I mean, he's built his racks in a decent position, but I don't know if he's going to have range to actually protect his ally. I mean, he can probably shoot over these trees, but I just don't know if it's going to be a long-term solution. Ooh,
okay, I need about 2 minutes to write an email. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure.
You can go ahead and cast. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. I'll keep going. So you can see that Hugo here is building this city, and importantly, if he can get this up, it's going to put LAT in a very good position here. In fact, even more so, the fact that Angelo's barracks is quite vulnerable. I mean, if they can get the city finished and then build a tower, suddenly this 120 wood that Angelo's invested is basically for naught. Ooh, and Angelo's getting a bit desperate here. He's trying to build a tower, but I mean, this tower is not going to go up in time, and even if it did, there's just no way it's going to be able to fight the city here. It really does feel like PLA kind of self-destructing a bit. I mean, it was just bad circumstances at the start there for Timeless, but it's kind of spiraling out of control because, I mean, this Rax is within range of the city alone. He doesn't even need to build a tower. And look at Timeless's wood income. He does have another woodcutter camp behind now, so he can salvage that, but I mean, this woodcutter camp is so vulnerable. I mean, any archer can kill that. Meanwhile, we can see that Linky is going for his trademarked raids at the top of the map here, on both water and on land. And I mean, PLA, like Linky is really going to have to step up and play like a god this game if he wants to try and overcome this early game deficit here from PLA's Angelo and from Timeless. We can see in the chat that Goofy reckons that this game's already over for the guys from China. And I mean, Goofy might be onto it here. I mean, the fact is that Nubians should be the strongest boomers in the early game, and at the moment, Timeless is struggling just to keep 100 eco. Although some nice raids here, slowing down Paladin in the back. See Paladin temporarily down to very low eco as well. And Hugo fighting back against these raids. And keeping Timeless's fish actually from working here as well. Trying to get a tower up here for Timeless, but he's getting raided by these hoplites. And raids galore. Linky really being a nuisance. These citizens have had enough and they're fighting back, but Linky is just so insane with his multitasking. If we look at Linky's view again for a moment here, he's doing everything. Oh, nearly keeps that ship alive, but not quite. Yeah, there's one thing that we know about PLA. I can see in the chat that iRush with Dutch just made a really astute comment, and that's that if any team is the master of the comeback, it's PLA. We've seen that comebacks are in their DNA, they're in their blood. And I mean, the most famous example of this was in Nomadium 1. They were up against Fall Valley, who were, you know, one of the finest teams in the tournament, and they were heavily behind on this exact map, which is Aussie Outback, and they managed to turn it around and basically come back and have the greatest comeback of all time. So I'm sure with a player like Linky, you've always got a chance. You can see that Paladin's now stabilized a bit. He's recaptured his wood. His eco's still quite low though, and as the Washington player, I'm sure he'll be keen to try and get a Colossus or get a Wonder up as soon as he can, but by playing the aggressive kind of role, his eco is actually quite far behind too. Meanwhile, let's have a look at what Linky's doing. Oh, Linky's actually being raided hard here by Dragon Neo, so this is almost like a game of tag. Everyone is raiding everyone here. Linky, I thought, would be in a really strong position, but his eco is shot because he had to run away from his wood. And I don't know if he's going to be able to retake that anytime soon. I mean, Dragon Neo has 4 units there. That's plenty to kill many of these citizens, although he's reinforcing those bowmen now. Dragon Neo is building Colossus. Oh, I like this move, but I don't like the placement of it. He's literally building it in the most open position he could. And there's no excuses here. He could build it easily on the right-hand side here, or at least near this tower. That's just going to be invited to get sieged down. Mark this moment down in your calendars, because this is the moment that Dragon Neo decided to build his Colossus in a very awkward position. Although who knows, maybe that's like he's trying to put it out there like a lure and lure his opponents in for some kind of secret tactic. Unlikely, but it is possible. Yeah, you can see that Nubian's, he's built his market up now for Timeless. And if it's a Nubian versus Nubian fight, I mean, that would be Dragon Neo is the one who should have a strong eco as Nubians too, but he is building the Colossus here. So, oh, actually, I just realized. Sorry, I was confused. No wonder you're probably watching this thinking, what am I talking about? For a second, I mistakenly thought that Dragon Neo was on the PLA side, but obviously he's building that in a great position. It's it's behind the city, not in front, and he's up against Linky here, so there's no issues there whatsoever. So tech-wise, this has been a pretty hectic game. Really nice raids here by both players. And I mean, Dragon Neo is knuckling down on this Colossus. His eco is temporarily quite bad, but he's obviously just trying to rush that Colossus out. And it looks like LAT should be able to secure this relics. Although Linky doing a great job denying this, getting a nice kill on that merchant, and should be able to deny this tower too, which is going to be really frustrating. Oh, he does run away though. Potentially missed opportunity there. And I mean, surprisingly, if you look at the scores, this game is actually evened out quite a lot. PLA have done a great job, and it seems like Linky's raids have done the trick in somehow getting this game back to what you could call a semblance of an even keel. I mean, Angelo will lose his barracks, but they've seemed to solidify a fairly decent position here. I like the fact that Angelo's built his second city in the middle, gaining all this territory here and basically boxing out the LAT players from being able to secure this middle ground. And that's going to be really frustrating the longer this game goes on, because basically Angelo can team up with Linky here and push in and attack Dragoneer in the mid game, and there's not a lot that his allies will be able to do to help him out without capturing this city here first. Nice raiding here as well by, looks like Angelo's picking off that sugar. Meanwhile, Dragoneer will come back and try and defend. So, I mean, are we going to see what could be another amazing, miraculous comeback here? Or are LAT going to basically knuckle down and try and finish this game? The fact that Dragoneer has now got this Colossus up does turn this fight between Linky and Dragoneer into a bit of a one-on-one here. As we talked about, I mean, his allies aren't going to be able to really help him much unless they sneak citizens across and build military buildings behind. And his wood here is very exposed. Once that tower goes down, he's going to feel a little bit naked here. And Linky will be in a position to take full advantage. And Linky playing with a classic, let's call it the dead man's build, not going above 100 eco, and basically rushing out your mill 2 and getting your siege.
Hey, dude, little help here.
So basically Linky going for what looks like a very, very aggressive build order here. Although it doesn't appear to be an all-in of any type. He is getting his second city behind. Needs to be careful here not to avoid getting the bribe. He does move it just in the nick of time. Excellent micro by Linky. Small city going up here as well. That's going to help out Linky with solidifying this position. And as the Bantu player, he does have 3 cities now, so a bit of an open front. This has pros and cons. It leaves him vulnerable to an attack here, although it does help protect his territory.
All right, I'm back.
Oh, Dave, you're back, and I'm so glad. I think my voice will go hoarse soon if I keep talking at this rate.
Sorry, just got some work to do.
No problem at all. No problem. And so we are at I'm at the 15-minute and 40-second mark.
Okay, my game was still running and I got a bit ahead of you somehow, but I wait up. I'm at 16:06.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, it might be. I'm not sure. I wish I knew the reasons for it, but yeah, I mean, so since you've been away, it's been quite an interesting storyline here. I mean, I feel like the PLA guys, I don't know how they've done it, but they've somehow stabilized a bit. And basically, it's the situation right now is that LAT Hugo is going for a very quick attack here on the Nubian player Timeless. It looks like the city is going to go down here. And
oh yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Timeless doesn't have a lot of military and no militia research either.
Yeah, that was a nice ambush there, but the you can see play the tutorials noob going down from Timeless here. I'm not sure if he's upset at Angelo being out of position. He said Nigan Jimal Kule Chinese. I'm sure that means
a lot of blaming going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been important to have militia research for Timeless, because with this many villagers nearby, he could hold even by himself for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, militia, yeah, definitely something that he probably needed to prioritize. He is getting it now, though, and so all of these scholars will be able to pick up pitchforks and potentially help out. Although, look at that, there's so many heavy infantry from Hugo. I mean, he's got almost 7 heavy infantry. They're really good against militia. It's these bowmen that they're going to be the key if he wants to try and take the city back.
He also gets a lot of plunder for killing those militia if he puts the despot in range, but he did not quite do that, I think.
I mean,
I don't know what Paladin is doing in the background. He raided diamonds, that's very nice, but he's not really contributing to this fight on the left side.
Yeah, he doesn't have a huge army. I think he's actually been raided a fair bit by Linky, so his eco's weak, but I do feel like Hugo has taken a huge step here towards LAT equalizing this series at 1-1 if they can continue this aggression in the manner that they need to, because but the issue, like you said, is he needs his ally Paladin to apply pressure to Angelo and get Angelo off his back, because I mean, he has a decent army of militia kind of bolstering his force, but with no healing, all these units will either die on the first couple of hits they get, or he needs to go back and heal them.
Yeah, it's really difficult to keep pushing with Despot because your units don't heal even if you are in own territory, and your eco is limited to 100. So this will really limit his options going forward. The good thing is that he really damaged Timeless, because Timeless's eco is even worse than the 100 that Hugo has.
Yeah, that's so true. And I mean, it's that classic despot kind of dilemma sometimes. It's a big investment to go despot. You're capping yourself economically, but he's already got more than enough dividends from doing so. And he should always have the upper hand here against, at the very least against Timeless. But now it comes down to Paladin. Can Paladin at least keep on parity here with Angelo? And it looks like he should be able to. I mean, Angelo's economy is actually not so great. His wood income is quite poor, and I'm not quite sure why.
I think his wood cam got raided a bit.
Yeah.
Interesting development on the right side. I think Linky was trying to go for some aggression, but Dragonio got attrition.
Oh wow, and that's, I mean, Linky has a excellent eco. Not a single citizen doing more work than they need to, except for his wealth income, which is over the commerce cap. It's always a sign of a great player when you can see that they're exactly almost at their commerce cap without any inefficiency there. But yeah, Dragonio does have the Colossus up, and he is Nubian, so, and he's got relics as well. Relics, salt, horses, furs, peacocks, sugar, and amber. I must admit, that's like an all-star cast there for Ruins if you're the Nubian player.
This Colossus will definitely help Dragonio in the long run. Even though Linky has Bantu, both of them have the extra commerce, population cap. Looks like Linky will still go for the offensive approach, and that's what he should be doing since the other side is losing.
I mean, yeah, I'm impressed by Dragonio though. I mean, he was a pretty bold move to build this Colossus in the position that he was in, but he's managed to hold this aggression here from Linky, and I feel like the longer he can hold that, the better he's going to be. He should age well and truly before Linky does. And he's not playing silly either. He's playing quite conservative, smart, not putting himself out there so that he can lose his army for nothing.
Yeah, that's a good one by him. I'm not sure if you mentioned that Paladin changed his nation to Americans.
Yeah,
but
I mean, we haven't really touched on it, but yeah, he did. And he hasn't built a wonder yet.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, that Americans are great if you can get your hand on a wonder, but Paladin didn't really do that, and I'm not sure what his plan is with Americans here. If he just wants to go for this aggressive approach, he could have stayed with British.
Ooh, and I'll just bring your attention to Linky versus Dragonio here. Big push by Linky, and he got a really nice forced march there against the army.
A lot of heavy cavalry.
Yeah, huge number, and they're upgraded now as well. So that was a nice little push. He got a lot of hits in, although it looks like Dragonio has a well-placed castle there. There's no way that Linky will be able to capture it anytime soon.
Yeah, that castle is a bit further behind than it would be optimal, because it won't really stop the city from being captured if Linky rushes in. But it does help in defending if Dragonio can hold, and that castle can snipe any incoming knights.
Yeah, so true. And look at this push by Hugo here as well. He is going in, and they've swapped positions completely. They knew that there was no point attacking where they were heavily defended by PLA. So sieging down Shanghai now, and it looks like you've got to think that surely LAT have enough units here to capture Shanghai. Although Paladin doesn't really have that many, he's raiding a lot behind. Sometimes that's the genius of Paladin, of Azteca. He's just using his units everywhere. But where is his army?
Yeah, I think it would be more important to focus on having a big army, especially with Americans. Even his eco is not the best. But it will be interesting to see if Angelo can hold. He potentially can bring all his militia. Hugo doesn't have a huge army either, so I guess PLA can hold this.
You can see that in the fight
But,
at the top.
yeah.
Linky up against Dragoneer. You can see Dragoneer is getting a very quick tactics, so he has an armor upgrade against Linky, which may be crucial if there's an engagement here and Linky doesn't decide to get his castle up. So just keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, we can see that, you know, this fight around Shanghai, I'm not sure how the PLA guys feel here. They're literally defending their nation's capital, Shanghai, here. And, they can't let Shanghai fall to these pesky, and they're actually getting attacked by China, so this is like Chinese civil war right now.
Yeah. It is looking dire for Angelo because he has only a 40 gold income, and
Ooh.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Big fight at the top here, PLA, Linky versus Dragoneer, and you can see this armor upgrade should come into effect here for Dragoneer. I don't know if Linky knows about the armor upgrade, but hard to tell who's got the advantage here. I mean, both having huge armies, but I feel like this armor upgrade is really paying dividends. Nice militia pull by Dragoneer as well, and, you know, good placement of his senator. He's got the full armor upgrade for all of his units. Look at that +4 versus only +2. And if Linky doesn't identify this armor upgrade and retreat soon, he may lose his entire army. And this could spell really bad news for PLA. Great news though for all the LAT fans out there.
Angelo did pull all his militia now. It's gonna be a close fight because Timeless is still having age 1 army pretty much.
Wow, this looks like massive fights on both sides here. I mean, just after Dragoneer has a huge kind of win and hold there, it looks like his teammates are going to do one up, and they have captured the capital. Nice cap sack there by LAT, and you have to say that LAT is in pole position to take out this game number 2.
Yeah, they are in the driver's seat on both sides, I would say. Linky was kind of pressed for time, and he wanted to make a decisive victory before getting tactics. And I don't blame him for that because looking at the other side, it's not looking great. But yeah, GGs are coming in.
Wow.
And well done.
PLA calls GG, and LAT have done it. They've come back on Aussie Outback. They've shown plenty of fighting spirit. They injected Hugo into the mix, and they've come out with the win here. That makes the proceedings at 1-1, and wow, let's quickly talk about it. Let's have a look. Let's debrief. So military stats here. We've got Hugo. Not surprised there. He played excellently with that despot play, with 69 kills, 38 deaths. It looks like across the board though, LAT played really well with you know, that early aggression, and, you know, a little bit fortunate with what happened with, and unlucky I guess for PLA with what happened with that city. But yeah, you still got to say the decisions the LAT made here, especially Dragoneer. That was impressive, the way he kind of held his own against the MVP of PLA being Linky here.
Yeah, it was definitely scary for him, although I missed the middle section of the game, but he must have done a good job of holding against Linky's Bantu, because that's one thing I would not like to face, for sure.
Oh, definitely not. And getting Colossus behind, and he had an awesome economy. Look at those rares. I must admit, LAT were definitely helped by some nice rares there, but it's Aussie Outback. There's always going to be heaps of rares, and also they secured a lot of those rares by really aggressive map positioning. I mean, the fact that Dragoneer built his first city here, it's actually quite aggressive. I don't know if that was just where it started, but yeah, really well played. Let's have a quick look. So resource graph, you can see that Linky was up there, but Dragoneer was matching him. And then military, huge military there by Linky, but you can see where this graph drops down. Actually, Angelo's drops at the same time. Seems like PLA had a, you know, it's like they caught the plague or something, because all their units died around the same time as the LAT guys charged in on both sides. Dragoneer was barely affected, and that armor upgrade and defensive positioning really helped out. Yeah, really neutralizing that army of Linky. So, wow, that's a really nice game. Any special moment? I know you missed half the game, so it's hard to ask you your opinion on what was the best moment of the game, because you're we're out.
Well,
yeah, sorry, you go.
I can still pick one, because the most crucial one was the early game when Timeless was being harassed by Paladin's Meal 1, and immediately after that Hugo's second city. So he lost a lot of early eco, and even in the very beginning when he lost his market, that was a huge setback for Nubian player. And only after that it was really difficult to come back. So well done by that. They capitalized on the advantage on the left side. They pushed really hard, and Dragonio even had his side. So well played.
Yeah, that was really well done. And I can see in the chat. Let's see what the spectators, the viewers are thinking right now. You can see that it looks like Syntax said Hugo was a good pick. GG. Amiga saying Azteca was slow, but Dave not saying he helped mostly to kill Red. And that makes the game for LAT in some way. So I think maybe what Amiga's saying there is that Paladin was playing more of a support role as opposed to a aggressive role. Do you have any response?
Yeah, I completely agree with you that he did help to kill Red with the early raid, and we did mention that. Only after that I was referring to how he didn't really have a army to support Hugo in the early fights, and that could have gone really badly. That was my only complaint about Paladin. But of course he did great in this game with the raids. He harassed both Angelo and Timeless as well.
And who do you think should be awarded the player of this match, the official Chron MVP player of the match?
I think Hugo should get it.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
He won his side pretty much.
I think consolation award goes to Dragonio. I'm impressed with what he did, but yeah, Hugo was the power player here. And I mean, you got to say that it was the team player building this racks and building this city, which basically neutralized Timeless and forced them into, a losing position. So, GG. I'm sure everyone is super keen to watch the third match of this best of 5, even though it feels like this is the 4th match because there was one game which dropped. So let's get straight into it. Have you got the replay ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, we'll just load that up right now. Alright, so at the 0-second mark, 3, 2, 1. Let's go, guys. Let's go. And I must admit, because we haven't done a quarterfinal for a while, I almost forgot, but we are on my favorite map of all time here. It is the majestic, the beautiful watering hole.
I thought Australian Outback was your favorite.
Actually, my second favorite map. How did you know? Yeah, you're right. Nothing beats Aussie Outback. The best steakhouse you'll ever visit. But yeah, you can see that this is definitely a controversial map. I like it because I think it makes for really interesting games. First of all, let's have a quick scout. Is there any citrus? Is there any copper? Yes. Doesn't appear to be so. There's Pappy and Silk, but no game-changing rares at this early stages, so I'm going to get strapped in for hopefully what's a really good game here.
Yeah, let's check out the nations. So for this game, it's tier 1, 3 and 4. And the tier 1 pick for PLA is Japanese, while for LAT, it's Lakota. Which do you favor of these two for this map?
I must admit, like after the commentary recently about how good Japanese are on water maps, especially with their bonuses that no one really thinks about, I'd probably have to say Japanese, but Lakota is like an X Factor nation. It helps throw your opponents off guard. Is this the best map for Lakota? I don't think so, but at the same time, are Lakota handy? Absolutely they are. They're very handy to have. So, look, I'm a bit of a Lakota fanboy, so I'm going to cheer for Lakota maybe. I'll be unbiased as a caster, but I like to see Lakota get up here. But I feel like Japanese is stronger. What do you think?
I kind of have to agree with most of what you said. Like, I do think that Lakota has a better potential in the very early game because they can get a lot more ruins, and that gives them a big power spike early. They can get on the water faster. So Lakota are great on this map as well. I just think that long term Japanese are better because of cheaper fish and whatnot. Cheaper battleships as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see already we've got Angelo is actually playing as the tier 1 Japanese player here, while Linky is gone for French. I saw that Jatten made a comment earlier saying that accusing me of being a Linky fanboy, and I'll reply to that with no comment. Although I do think that Linky is one of the world's best players, so you read into that however you want to. But I'm also a Azteca fanboy, a fanboy of Timeless, Angelo, Hugo, and Dragon Neo as well. So all 6 of these players are well and truly at top of my charts of very quality run players.
Yeah, I don't think there was any heavy bias. So just tone it, guys.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting because there's furs in the no man's land, and I would expect that the Japanese player can grab that easily, especially since they know about it because they have Spanish.
Yeah, they both have Spanish, so interestingly, both teams can, at least one of their players can see the whole map and scout out all the rares if they wanted to. I mean, the team with Lakota should be able to pretty much see in the entire map soon anyway, just from so many citizens scouting around. But I mean, yeah, those furs will be handy for whoever can secure them first. I feel like either team has the capability of doing so if they get a double civic to capture it. But I mean, it looks like this is the front lines right here, is Linky versus Dragon Neo. And Dragon Neo playing as the Spanish player is, you know, typically Spanish are great on this map on the water, but they're very, very weak, I find, on land engagements. And I'm already kind of foreseeing that accusations of me being a Linky fanboy aside, this French proximity here is hugely going to play out in the favor of Linky, whereas Spain's going to have a really tricky time defending that if Linky decides to get aggressive.
Yeah, but I would still prefer to have French in front of me rather than Japanese or Lakota. So I guess that's good for Dragon Neo because he's pretty much on the same speed as French early. So if he can survive the early stages, then with the help of his ally, they can hold against French, I guess. But I do agree that French have a huge potential from mid H2 and H3 onwards, like I mentioned in my nation review video as well, self-promotion aside.
So make sure, guys, you check out Dave's French Nation review, coming to a store near you soon, or Barnes & Noble, or just check out YouTube channel in all seriousness. I think it's like 2 videos back from this one. But yeah, it's a really great guide you did there for French. So anyone wanting to master the French Nation, Dave's just uploaded a guide. So make sure you don't go anywhere, but bookmark it and watch it after you watch this match. Looks like Dragon Neo's, I mean, I feel like one thing that we often overlook, even though it's so important on this map, is, you know, just checking how many wood each player gets at the start, because honestly, it can be the difference between a superb start and like a terrible start. So I mean, Linky here has 7 versus the 6 of Dragon Neo, so fairly even on that regard. You've got 7 woodcutters for Paladin, aka Azteca, and you've got 8 for LAT. So far LAT are in pretty good positions, nothing below 6, which is kind of like the minimum here. Meanwhile, you've got Angelo with actually 10 woodcutters. That's enough.
That's great.
That's a surplus to sell to your allies if you wanted to. Versus, yeah, well, he's actually got 12, he's built 2, so Timeless has got plenty of wood as well. Actually, every player seems to have wood, which is somewhat surprising. Normally there's someone who gets a bit screwed over by just an unlucky map position.
Yeah, there are some maps that like have enough wood so you don't have to be worried about it, like Amazon or Himalayas. There's always enough wood. But on this map, it's kind of random and you can be unlucky, but in this match, I'm glad that no one got screwed over by a terrible wood camp.
Yeah, and you can see that Linky's gone for the most aggressive build in the game. And I mean, it
Straight
looks like
Mill 1.
Paladin's gone for the exact same thing. He actually went Mill 1 as well, but he got Commerce after it. And now able to defend against Linky. Is Linky going to get
It's a really
Commerce?
smart play by LAT because Dragon Neo could still get his ship on the water and Paladin is defending for him on land.
Yeah, brilliant team play there by LAT. That's exactly like a team playing like, you know, one hive mind. They're all playing like exactly what they need to do here. The only thing I'd like to see Dragon Neo is build a second dock maybe to get that double dock up. But yeah, we'll wait and see if that's something he chooses to do or not.
Timeless and Angelo are both on the water. Japanese guy went for meal 1, and I agree with that because there's no way he's grabbing that first. Lakota already built there, so no point in trying. Might as well get a leg up on the water fight, since Hugo went for the Civic 1 before meal 1.
Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of jostling on the right-hand side between the two players who went mill 1, but neither should be able to affect the other too much. Both able to defend each other, and it's going to come down to the water now. And I think, like you said, you know, often on this map, a really good strategy is the tier 1 players like Japanese and Lakota. They kind of have a responsibility to lead the charge in securing the middle by spamming as many ships as possible. Sometimes if they don't do that, it leaves your teammates a bit vulnerable. It looks like Hugo's starting to spam some now, so it looks like it'll be okay. It's going to be parity here in the middle.
Yeah, it looks like all the LAT guys are chipping in for the water fight, and that's exactly what we have to do. Because if you leave, if your team is not fully contributing to water, then you could lose everything. And the pond is hugely important on this map because not just because there's a lot of gold by the fish, but there's not a lot of rares to compensate either. So even if you have diamonds like PLA has, it's not gonna be enough to fill out the commerce gap.
Yeah, you can see excellent double dock there by Dragoneo too, making full use of his Spanish powers to get a second heavy ship for free. And look at that, returning fire by Timeless. So both players seasoned veterans here, and this is turning into an absolute cluster F in the middle because ships are going down left, right, and center.
Yeah, one ship did go down for Dragoneo, that was unfortunate. You don't want to lose, ideally, any ships, but of course if you are paying attention elsewhere, then it can happen. Just because heavy ships are so expensive, 90 wood and more if you make second and third. So
yeah, and now we've reached the next kind of phase of the game. You can see that Hugo's getting to age 2 now. Angelo is already age 2. He actually skipped Civic and Science, so interested to see what strategy he's going for here. Maybe he's just trying to get his medal income up nice and early, and he's spamming fire ships as well. So
I would not blame Angelo if he went for the Colossus in this situation. Since he's Japanese, he's the fastest on his team. He's not really in any real danger right now. Or even Timeless could grab it, but it is a bit of a risk because you abandon the water for a while and you don't want to do that optimally.
Yeah, you can see where these docks are placed. It's almost like, in a strange way, LAT have almost, PLA have almost boxed LAT in to their docks on the right hand side here. They've almost got map control of the pond, which is kind of unusual because map control comes and goes very quickly. Oh, nice little tower here as well by Hugo, denying this wood, but it looks like it's outside the vision of Timeless at the top side of the map here.
Oh my god, that's gonna be so annoying.
That's really pro play there by Hugo, and he is well within range of that perfect placement of that tower. There was no way he could see that coming. Yeah, that's really going to set Timeless back quite a bit.
Yeah, it could go down to a city if Timeless gets his second city there, but ideally you don't want to build your second city backwards like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
he loses a lot of wood this way. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see Timeless has the biggest navy in the game. But, I mean, now that his wood's been basically cut in half, his production's going to go down a lot. He's basically going to have to try and... I would like to see if he's going to upgrade his ships, though. I mean, he's already got so many out. He's going to get good value from that upgrade to get galleys.
Yeah, definitely. The biggest difference is that while the ancient ships go down in one hit against the fire raft, the galleys can survive one hit. That can make a big difference.
Yeah, I agree. Like a huge difference. And I mean, it is expensive to get that upgrade, but at the same time, you know, having ships that can survive a fire blast hit is just absolutely massive in this game. It means you can go back, heal them up, and bring them back to full power later on. So it's going to be interesting to see if Timeless does end up going for that galley upgrade. But I guess his ally Angelo has already got it, so I guess they don't need to double up too much.
Looks like PLA has done a better job of securing the water so far. I see weaker gold incomes for LAT overall.
Yeah,
this makes it difficult to come back for LAT.
And I mean, PLA is making really good use of the fish they've got too. They're pretty much using every fish square they can and taking full advantage of it. And if you look at their wealth income, I mean, let's just compare Linky versus Dragondeer here. Linky has 70 wealth versus Dragondeer has 30. And the longer that PLA can hold that status quo, the stronger they're going to be when it comes to getting to age 3 and to basically building those really gold-heavy units such as heavy cavalry.
Yeah, and scholars and archers.
Basically anything that's good in this game needs wealth.
Yeah.
I mean, what would an army look like without wealth? I mean, you'd have a lot of slingers, you'd have a lot of heavy infantry, and I can't really think of much else. Light horses.
Ooh, yeah, it's gonna be really difficult for LAT to boom now. Paladin and Dragoneer both have 30 gold income. Hugo has 30 gold income as well. That is not good.
Yeah, it does seem like... I just think PLA's strategy of Angelo going for that galley upgrade, going hard as chaps to secure the water, has really worked out well in their favour. And you can see that the tier 1 player for LAT, Hugo, hasn't gone for that galley upgrade. He hasn't gone for quite the same number. He has a decent ship count, but look at that. 3-2 versus 4-3. You can see that even Linky's chipping in now.
Yeah. French can definitely help out on water with the extra wood. He did go for Despot. I don't know if that's necessary, since they have the better position, but I guess he can make something happen. It also puts pressure on Dragoneer because now he sees that French player is Despot, he will expect a rush.
That's so true. It'd be interesting to see how Dragoneer reacts because Linky's basically going for the ultimate aggressive build. He skips Civ, he skips Science, and just trying to make something happen with, yeah, like a really fast attack, which is almost runs counter-cyclical to how his team are going. I mean, in theory, he should just sit back and boom, right? They've got the lake. He doesn't need to push the issue here. He could probably just build another city, fill his scholars, and yeah, take full advantage of that lake.
Yeah. Interesting decision by Timeless to go for attrition. I don't know why he researched that. It's such a big investment, but he's not even on the front lines.
Yeah, that's quite an unusual one. I don't know why he's gone for that. I think that it would come in handy for Angelo, because Angelo is facing what looks like the onslaught from Hugo in a moment here. Hugo's just building... What is he waiting for? It looks like possibly some more units, I'm not sure, but he has 2 siege out already, so he has that strike power ready to go.
Yeah. Looks like Angelo is preparing himself. He might even attack himself. He's getting a siege factory now, but he does not have such a big army. 5 archers is good enough though, if he wants to defend. And Hugo is gonna have a tough time attacking without enough gold. Looks like PLA still has mostly control of the water, and Linky is now sieging Dragoneer.
Yeah, and that is, ooh, and this Senate placement as well. I feel like he could have placed that a little bit closer to the cap. But yeah, he's going to be potentially in trouble here, unless his allies can react, because, I mean, let's have a quick look at the army count for Green. I mean, he's got 0 land units.
An archer. Maybe, or maybe that's Light Blue's army.
Light Blue's army. Nice raiding here by Angelo in the back too. Something that Angelo does really well is his constant raids. It's not just Linky, but you can see that Linky's the one that's applying a lot of pressure with his attack. Meanwhile, it looks like Hugo was caught out of position, lost a siege there against Angelo. So there's not going to be any kill on that side.
That's such a big blow for LAT, because on the other side it does not look good. Now the French army is gonna be a slow death ball. They don't have to hurry, they just keep sieging, and these towers for Dragoneer won't really help him. It will just delay. I think he has a really good gold income compared to him.
Yeah, and if you look at the eco, this fight between Angelo and Hugo on the left, Hugo actually has the better eco, except for the wealth income, because they don't have the dominance in the middle. But you can see
perhaps wealth income is like the most important of those.
Yeah, true. I mean,
because you can always get more food with farms and whatnot, but gold is quite limited.
Oh, here we go. There is a push here from Linky. Oh, there's a big militia pull here. Big militia pull.
Huge. Full militia for almost everybody.
He's running.
He's rushing in.
Oh, he's bringing. Yeah, he's rushing in here, but why are these militia going down the bottom? I'm not sure what is going on. A bit of a misclick perhaps by Linky. You can see that LAT has 2 here to try and defend, and now great defense here by Dragoneer. He's bringing his own militia. They need to prevent this capsack if they want to stay in this game. And now finally, Timeless hasn't really had much of a presence in the ground here. Is Linky going to have enough?
He's making some army.
Oh, Angelo's saying in the chat he reckons he's won on the other side. Linky's... Oh, Angelo's captured the Lakota city, so...
And that castle's gonna be denied. Oh damn, that's huge.
Oh, that castle is gonna go down.
Yeah, it looks like Angelo is winning.
Angelo's won on that side by the looks of it, or at least he's well and truly taken one step towards winning. But this capsack is being stubborn. It's being super stubborn here. It's not going to go down. I don't know if LAT are able to hold this though. The city goes down and the capsack is given to PLA. This is a disaster for LAT.
Wow. That's huge power of French here, because all these units kept healing all this time, and Dragoneer just couldn't make a decisive victory. And yeah, that's game over for them.
Man, that was excellent play by Linky.
And it all came down to having the vote, because they could mess up a lot of heavy cavalry and archers on both sides.
Yeah, that was a really fascinating game. I mean, I kind of felt like there was just a brief moment where the PLA guys were just more focused on the water. I mean, Dragoneer lost that one ship. I'm not going to say that they lost the game because they lost that one ship, but honestly, a small mistake like that can be the big difference between winning and losing water. And like, I mean, just PLA were able to stay focused. Japanese put all of his attention to winning that water in the early game, whereas I felt like, not like Lakota didn't help, but Lakota's sole focus wasn't like water. He was kind of doing other things as well. And that just allowed PLA to capture more fish, which led to more wealth, which led to basically a slight edge, which turned into a big edge, which turned into the win. So...
yeah, it was pretty much all the smallest things that added up over the long run, like Lakota being a bit later to the water, Dragoneer losing that one ship, and things like that. And it just snowballed into a bigger advantage for PLA, because they managed their ships better, and also they had more of them, so they could overpower.
Yeah, I think you can see, guys, let us know in the chat, what was your favorite moment of that game? Because I can see that, yeah, as that game was playing out, I rushed with Dutch saying endless militia from Linky. I must admit, yeah, it just seemed like stream after stream of militia coming in there. This is a best of 5, so that was just the 3rd match, and there's still at least one more, possibly 2 more games from this series. I can also see Mentalist is saying what rares did they have. So I think there was diamonds here, which definitely helped with that wealth income. I mean, that was 20 additional wealth in addition to the pond. So, but they
and they had obsidian, which helped them with the land offense, but it's nothing great. But still, LAT had a lot more quality rares. They had First, Salt, Peppy, and Silk. I would still prefer to have LAT's rares. So
Yeah.
PLA did a great job of winning despite that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Salt and Furs, the fact that they were able to secure those furs with Lakota was, you know, a nice move, Pappy. But I mean, yeah, I just think that focus on the water and probably just, you know, better kind of structural movements there. Angelo able to win both water and land as well is pretty key too, because I would have thought he'd be a bit weak given that he invested so much into you know, protecting Lake in the early game. So who do you think his MVP award should go to for this particular game?
It's tough to say. I think he did an amazing, pretty much 1v2 on land, but on water he didn't contribute that much, simply because he had to focus on land with the raids early. I can't pick one player, honestly. It would be one of the PLA guys, but I cannot say which.
So we're getting some fan votes here. Amiga reckons Linky should be nominated for player of the game. I'm thinking, I've got my own opinion, but I want to see what everyone else thinks first. Buzz seems to think that LAT need Coco now. And yeah, I can't help but think Coco is definitely a cog that they could use. But no, to be honest, I think Hugo's equally as good as Coco. So I don't think, you know, it's not like they lost this match because Coco didn't play. I just feel like PLA just had more focus on that pond. You can see that Angelo and Linky are both MVP. So that's I don't think we can give 2 awards, but if we could, consider.
I mean, even Timeless did a great job. He had so much Navy early. He was basically the powerhouse of their Navy early on.
Yeah, I think the official, if I had to give it, I think the official Chrono MVP award goes to Angelo this game. Well played, Angelo. I think that was excellent because, like you said, he basically contributed on water. And I know he's playing as Japs, but he also neutralized Lakota on the right hand, on this fight here on land as well, and kind of kept a good balance between the two. I mean, he was helped by this really nice wood at the start, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, well played. And obviously Linky played superb as well, so I agree. If there was a sharing of the award, it would also go to Linky. So very well played. Let's. Are you right to keep going? Are we going to jump straight into game number 4? I know this feels like game number 5, but are you right to keep going, Dave? I just
need 1 minute.
Yeah, no problem.
And then we can.
Well, I'll just quickly let's load up. I'll load up the next game, and then if you need a second, just let us know.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. So we can see in the chat, we've got a lot of professional Rise of Nations players right here. We have El Steez, aka Warren Dirksen. We've got the professional player Omega. We've got Tian Tian, aka Language of Trees, from the mighty clan of AZ. We've got Jatin Sharma. I'm not sure I recognise. Can you tell us what's your nickname in the chat if you can? Jatin Sharma. Yeah, I think Buzz said whoever's got Linky always starts with a 1-0 already. I don't know if I think figuratively I can kind of see what you're talking about there, but I mean, LAT have already shown that, you know, just because your team has Linky in it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to do well. I mean, they dominated in that match on Aussie Outback. Yeah, the winner of this will meet EL in the semi-finals. So, yeah, Dave, what's your thoughts as well? I mean, as you're watching this, it's quite unusual, but you'll actually be seeing, you know, which team you'll be up against in the semi-finals. Who do you think is more scary so far as a potential opponent based on the games we've seen so far?
Oh, I'm very eager to finally have our opponents in the semi-finals. So whoever wins, I'm gonna be happy. But I think PLA has a slight lead, not just because of the score, but because of the gameplay they showed so far.
Yeah, you've been very patient waiting for these games to be finished, so I take my hat off for you. Because we did have some issues with getting these games to be played, just due to lag and a few other issues. But no, it was great that PLA and LAT were both excellent about the way they went about it. They were able to sit down, work out a time, and make it happen, which means that we can actually bring these games to you right now. So I'm in the 4th game. Are you ready to jump into it?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, so 4th game here in this amazing best of 5 between PLA and LAT Fusion. And this map will be on, is this Amazon? Or is this?
Yep.
Yep, it is. It is Amazon indeed. So Amazon will be the 4th map here. And let's have a quick look at where these teams are starting out. So we've got LAT Fusion spawning on the bottom left-hand side of the map. You can see that Paladin playing as Maya. I'll bring up the nations quickly. Let's have a look at what they picked. So we've got, this will be an interesting game because it'll be tier 3, 4, 1. So tier 1s for both players. You've got Germans versus Lakota.
No, it's tier 1, 2, and 4.
Oh, 1, 2, and 4. My mistake, of course. So 1, 2, 4. So you've got Germans, Inca, Maya for LAT versus Lakota, Inca, and Maya for PLA. So basically an exact mirror matchup except for Lakota versus Germans for Dragon Neo here.
It's like a Native American tribe fight. That's for Germans.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, my opinion is I'm a big fan of Lakota on this map because of the territory advantages. I mean, that's not to say there's not anything wrong with Germans though. What's your thoughts about Germans versus LAC here? You know, the strengths and weaknesses of picking either.
I'm not sure what options LAT had left. I know that they picked Japanese, Lakota, and which was the third one? I guess there was no third one because one game there was no tier 1 pick.
Yep, that's true.
So
last game, yep.
I think with Egypt they would have more options on this map because Egypt can boom up quite nicely. Not to forget, Mongols are also amazing, but you cannot go wrong with Germans. So it's still a very decent pick.
And where do you think would be the best position for Lakota to build his second city? Based on the way this map's playing out, you can see that Hugo is kind of right up against the boundary of Linky there, playing as Maya. Not the ideal position, to be honest, for the Inca player because, you know, Inca is a bit slow in the beginning and they like to have space to breathe and to boom. It's going to be interesting though. Where do you think Lakota should place the city?
Probably the best spot would be near that copper. Yeah, I mean obviously not to grab that rare, but to have a positional advantage over the Inca player.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be an excellent position for Timeless because it doesn't put his caravan routes at threat, but it also gets him nice and close to apply lots of pressure and also deny territory for the Inca player who only has one mountain at the moment. I mean, I'm sure there'll be more opened up as the game goes on.
One thing I'd like to point out is that Lakota are amazing on this map because I believe there are the most ruins on Amazon of all maps.
Yeah, really?
So that's gonna, I think that's gonna help him out a lot in this game.
Yeah, there is a huge number of ruins. I mean, it's one of those things that I guess you learn something about the game every day, but I've never really sat down and counted how many ruins are on each map. We should definitely get a stats guy to verify this so that we can be armed with that knowledge for future. But I mean, that definitely leans towards Lakota being a really intelligent pick on Amazon.
Yeah, I don't know if they are aware of that. I mean, what I said is kind of what I feel like by experience. I have no way to verify if that is actually the case, but I feel like Amazon has more ruins than other maps.
I can see there's a bit of a Me Too movement happening in the chat right now. It's like everyone is speaking up about how Surge has been toxic and been trolling them, and they're all banding together and fighting back. And this is quite inspirational to see. You guys need a hashtag, and this will be a formal movement. It's going to be trending on Twitter soon.
Yeah. Hashtag Surge.
Hashtag I am Surge.
Also, one surprising thing for me is that no one picked Turks in this best of 5 so far. I feel like Turks are such a game-changing nation many times.
Yeah, I think Turks are like, I must admit, harking back to the previous games we've seen, like the semi-final AZ versus Tough, that was an excellent use of Turks because, in my opinion, Turks are great because of two things. One, because they can scare, like they can rush and kill in the early game, or two, because they can scare the living crap out of your opponent, who then has to prepare for it, and then you can just not rush. So
yeah, exactly.
It's like the most powerful thing is just being Turks and scaring your opponents and making them play completely differently to how they normally would. So yeah, on that basis, I think we're going to see Turks as a popular pick, and without spoiling EL's games, do you think we might see Turks in the next game? We'll wait and see.
Well, obviously I would not want to reveal what I planned for those games, but I do have Turks pretty high on my list.
Yeah. Oh, and just jump in here. This fight between Linky and Hugo. So Linky has gone for the fastest mill possible. Starting to see a bit of a trend here. Meanwhile, Hugo's gone for the fastest sieve possible. If Linky can catch out this city before it goes down, depending on where the city is, he's going to be safe. He's building it behind. So interesting choice. Kind of a little bit surprised, but I mean it's going to work out well for him. Why he went Civic and built his city so quickly behind here? Is there something I'm missing?
I don't quite understand this move. He's Inca and he's the slowest nation in the game.
Yeah.
Going Civic 1 and getting Meal 1 after that is incredibly difficult. So if Linky rates his eco now, I don't know how he can survive that.
I mean, he does secure that mountain at the back, but again, that doesn't seem like something he had to rush for. And yeah, like you said, I mean, ironically, it's much better for him that he built it back there and got it up, because if he'd built it at the front and been raided, he would have been very, very much in trouble. But yeah, it just seems like a kind of a bit of a goofy play. We'll see what the long-term plan is.
Linky is splitting up his units. I would prefer if he concentrated all of them on that wood camp, because that lone archer can be fought off by villagers.
Yeah, so true. And he's now applying as much pressure as he can. You can see that Hugo's in an okay position for what, I mean, he's definitely not in a great position by any means, but he should be able to sneak off and build a barracks at the top here. And as long as Linky doesn't find out about it.
Timeless still built his second city near that copper despite Dragonia already having the city there. That's interesting.
That is encirclement right there. And I mean, time will tell if that's a good play. Or Timeless will tell if that's a good play. Do you see what I did?
Yeah, that is a good one.
Thanks, man.
I'd like to point out that Timeless has got 625 ruins.
Wow, 625 ruins. Let's have a quick look. That is incredible. I mean, Paladin.
I'd like to have that in standard as well, not just in Nomad.
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely insane. And I mean, I think there's going to be a lot more players picking Lakota on Amazon after watching this game.
Perhaps. And we can see that just how fast he is. He already has all 4 technologies in his library, and he has like 100 more food to go to the next stage. And even the German player cannot keep up with that. The Germans are one of the fastest in the game.
Yeah, it really does come down to, I guess, feast or famine for Lakota, depending on how many ruins they get in the early game. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he got Science 1 quite early on too, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, there's no way you get, what is it? How much did he get in Eco? Insane amount of ruins. 625, yeah. So Dragonia, as Germans though, he's basically cut off the caravan route here for Dragonia. Do you think is that a masterstroke or is that dangerous?
Well, Dragonir still can build a temple and kind of counter that by cutting off Timeless's caravan, but Timeless's caravan is actually chosen a really smart route. He's going behind the wood. I don't know what the algorithm is for caravans to choose their path, but sometimes they do really stupid stuff and walk in front of the enemy pretty much.
Yeah, and I mean, once they choose their route, they don't change it, right? So
yeah,
this guy's walking through enemy territory, but well, not quite, but he's walking through neutral territory, and I think that there's going to be plenty of opportunities for Timeless to snipe that caravan as this game progresses. So that's really putting Dragonier's wealth for the long term at risk.
Yeah, there's this gems, by the way, near. I don't know if you see that below the Lakota second city. Whoever can get that is gonna be at a huge advantage.
Yeah, that's so true. And I mean, I have to say, I think Lakota, if he wants to, can probably build a third city here.
Little help here.
Ooh, diamonds here as well for PLA. That's certainly going to help on a map like Amazon.
Hugo is sending an archer to Sugar. I like that move a lot because Lakota could build a tower there, but now with this archer here, he won't be able to.
Yeah, and Linky is actually trying to raid it right now, but yeah, this heavy infantry is not going to have any luck whatsoever.
Yeah.
You can see in the chat, plenty of people concerned for my well-being right now. But it's only 1:30, so it's all good, guys. It's all good. Nowhere I'd rather be right now.
We didn't talk much about Angelo versus Paladin on the left side. I think there wasn't any raids by either side. They are both up relatively quick.
Yeah, it's almost like they've been isolated and having their own fight here.
Angelo definitely has the stronger nation on this side with Inca. It's interesting that Mayan player didn't try to raid him, considering how Paladin went for really aggressive raids in every game so far.
Yeah, it looks like, as you say that, he's got a bowman at the very top of the map, trying to go for a raid behind. But I do think that this is going to be a slow burn game between Angelo and Paladin here, because of the fact that this river is basically cutting, their neutral territory in half. Really difficult to be aggressive when you've got a massive river, basically hogging and destroying your will to attack.
Yeah, that is true. It's really difficult to attack two of these. Actually, it's one river, but it goes around in a circle, and it's really difficult to make an offense like this. And it's bad news for Paladin because fighting against Inca long term, never a good idea. Looks like gonna be a more aggressive game on the right side, just because of the layout of the players. With Lakota pushing in so hard with this second city, it's bound to have someone rush.
Yeah, nice defense there by LAT. Actually, they took out the archer around gems, and they also successfully defended the sugar from a light horse. Although it was temporary, you can see that PLA Timeless, as Lakota, has built a stable behind, and he's raiding with the second light cavalry. Actually, he turned around, so I'm not sure what he's going for.
Yeah, this is why Lakota is so annoying, because they can build behind your base and they can harass you with these raiders. The sugar is never gonna be safe while it's in outside territory.
Yeah, I mean, if they can somehow kill those defenders, once he towers that, it's so far away from any other city, there's almost no way it'll be within friendly territory.
So 2 wonders going down for LAT. Do you think that might be an overcommitment?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely, there's a lot of risk involved, but if you look at the positioning of where they built their wonders, they're quite well protected, and it really comes down to the question of whether purple and orange can hold against a double here, by red and yellow. Because I feel like light blue and blue are just going to fight a bit of a war of attrition here on the top. And Angelo should have the long-term advantage there, being Inca. But both players are kind of removed from the action. So I think the front lines of this fight are probably going to be around the city of Trier here, which is the second city of the German player.
Yeah. I do like the fact that Paladin went for Colossus, because he should try to close the gap between Maya and Inca somehow, and Colossus is one way to do it. However, I don't like the Hanging Gardens by Dragonair because he's a lot more open to being attacked, and even going Civ 2 to secure that gems would be much better. He's doing that now, but...
Ooh. Yeah, and Dragonair is going for Civic 2 instead of Mill 2 here. He might live to regret that decision because...
Unless he's going for the attack.
Yeah, he only has 3 light horses and 1 bowman at the moment. 2 bowmen, 1's garrison inside. No towers, and meanwhile, Timeless has a really nice aggressive army here. Building a second racks, and he's got plenty of units queued up at his production buildings. This city appears to be going down here unless he can get some help from his buddy Hugo.
Yeah. And Hugo is just now getting the stables. No military level 2, no army whatsoever. So Inca are a great booming nation and they have awesome military, but they need a bit of time to get there, and Lakota player is not gonna give it to them.
Yeah, this is looking like Linky is applying enough pressure to keep Hugo well and truly grounded here. And so it's going to come down to, can these guys juggle the attacks on both sides and keep both their cities? There's no temple here for Hugo at his front city. And I feel like PLA has a really nice position here. By the way, anyone who's watching, guys, well, he's going in for the attack. Hold that thought. He just pokes in, but he's pushing back now. He's just scattered out how many units are here, and you saw that both orange and purple were there ready for it. Oh, and nice raid by Timeless. Excellent multitasking. And he's going in for another raid here with his light horse. And he's...
So many raids by him.
Yeah.
At 2 different places.
That's the thing, is like PLA, I feel like we don't really give Timeless enough credit. But he is absolutely top tier player. I'd say not quite at Linky's level, but you know, he's not far away. And Angelo is well and truly holding his own too. So this PLA team is really showing a lot of mettle right now. Linky saying go in and keep purple pinned. Meanwhile, Linky's going in for the attack. He's got militia. Is it all militia? All close militia at least. But, oh, nice work there. He did get attrition researched, and those militia are pretty much useless. They're going to die regardless of the fact that that Linky's gone for Despot here.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, no problem. If you need to go or anything, just let us know. You can see that Linky's attack, was planning to attack with all those militia, but had to turn around and basically wondering what to do now. Meanwhile, oh nice, captures the city there by Timeless. Timeless has a great army here, and if he can take out this tower nice and quick, looks like he's got enough units to kill Dragonair's German army.
Yeah, he definitely has enough, and Dragonair has to run away. Hugo cannot really help him because he's under pressure himself.
Yeah, great play by Linky. I mean, he had to turn around with his militia attack because it wouldn't have lasted very long. But the important thing is he denied Hugo the chance to help his ally out. And now you have to say that, you know, this city always looks vulnerable, and Dragonair is in massive trouble.
His eco is in shambles. He's been getting raided all over the place. Now it's on Hugo to hold against 2 players, and it's not gonna be easy. Angelo's making some offense on the left side, but Paladin has attrition, and I don't think Angelo can really move in until he ages. But it doesn't look like he has to hurry because right side is doing great. Timeless really capitalizes on his Lakota powers on this game.
Yeah, I mean, Timeless has been the game changer for sure. And that city placement where he ended up building it, despite the fact that he knew that there was another city there, I mean, it just shows that he had the courage and determination to take it out. So, yeah, I think that was excellent play. Also denying that caravan route for his opponent as well.
Yeah. Now Dragoneo is really in a really bad spot. His hanging gardens is completely useless now because he doesn't have enough food to age or do anything.
Yeah, I feel like he's in a terrible position, but if there's going to be any miraculous comeback here for Dragon Neo's economy, the fact is that he's the German, so if he spams a few smelters, a few granaries and lumber mills, you know, he could be back at 200 eco in no time, so it just kind of depends on whether he can survive long enough to do that.
Yeah, it will still take a long time, even with Germans.
Yeah.
And the fact that 2 of the PLA guys are aging, it's not looking good for LAT.
And you can see it's Despot versus Despot here on the right hand side. So 2 classic players who love their Despot, that's Linky and Hugo. So I'm not surprised to see this, but look at that army of Hugo's. If you click on his stable, he has about like 9 or 10 units there just sitting there garrisoned, healing up. So I wouldn't write off LAT just yet. I mean, Timeless has to be careful here. He's kind of just messing around taking out towers, but this could be time that he could be using to pressure Hugo and actually get a kill off, as opposed to doing something which is relatively, you know, useless in the long term.
Well, still, Gems is not bad to take out, but I do agree that he has to shift his focus elsewhere soon.
Yeah, and all militia. I mean, Linky took a gamble by building his cap at the front. Not sure if that was a wise move or not, but I mean, he's done it, so he's got to live with it now. He's brought all of his militia and garrisoned them, or basically not garrisoned, but kept them ready to go just in case they're needed. It's the war of the militia here. Hugo's done the exact same thing. This is going to go the ultimate showdown. Does he have attrition though? He doesn't have attrition, so Linky will not be getting attrition damage off, and this is going to come down to who wins in this epic fight between militia versus militia. I can't wait to see this. Let's just sit back with a popcorn and watch right now. This is insane.
Meanwhile, Angelo is attacking Dragon Neo in the center.
Oh my god. Will he get the cap sack here? Hugo looks like he has a ton of units, but I mean, at the same time...
He's losing his own cap now. So many things are happening at the same time.
Wow.
I don't know where to focus.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of gonna... This is like annihilation. This is like Armageddon where everyone dies. No one wins. And we don't even have nukes here.
Well, it looks like PLA will win, even though there are a lot of...
Yeah, Hugo has lost his cap, so unfortunately that was
And he cannot capture the Mayan capital either, by the looks of it.
Oh, how is Linky holding this? No, he does get the cap sack, so... But the timer is in favor of Linky, so Hugo needs to retake his cap or he's out. And nice move there by Angelo. I mean, basically outfoxing Paladin here. I mean, where is Paladin's army? I guess he's raiding a lot, but he doesn't seem to have a big enough army to take out Angelo.
He does have that Colossus, but still Angelo still has a better knowledge income than him. And well.
Yeah, wow. And I mean, great play by Hugo. He got the best of Linky, but he's kind of like a dead man walking right now because he has to figure out a way for his allies to retake. If his allies can retake this city, and he can hold that city of Linky's, LAT can still win this. But the problem is, Dragon Neo's army is decimated.
Yeah, Dragon Neo still couldn't come back to the game, and Angelo is fine holding 2 of them here on the left side.
Yeah, I mean, the problem for them is that any chance that LAT have, they need Timeless to just take his army to the side of the map and just like sit in the corner, because as soon as Timeless brings that army across to help retake that capital, there's no way Hugo will be able to hold that. He lost all of his militia pretty much in that attack, so his eco's in shambles, And now you can see he's getting sieged down. Yeah, he might even get eliminated here if he's not careful, because he's only got 2 cities left.
Little fun fact. Lakota can actually build a castle in a city that is not assimilated yet. So,
Yeah,
Timeless, for example, could build a castle here if he wanted to, but it's not necessary.
Can you build towers, or is it just a castle?
It's just castle. I don't know what the reason is for that, but I read it on the wiki, and
Yeah,
it's actually true.
Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, I'm sure he could probably afford it too. I mean, if he saved up and stopped building heavy cavalry, there'd be enough metal there to build a castle, you'd think. But yeah, this is increasingly looking very, very dire here for LAT. I mean, Hugo was the MVP for LAT here, but the problem is, as soon as Dragoneer lost that city, just the momentum swung heavily against LAT.
Yeah, Hugo was just up against 2 after Dragoneer was pretty much destroyed on his side.
Wow,
So
nice.
bit of a blunder to go for Hanging Gardens in that position, I think.
Yeah, definitely bit him in the butt, I think. If his city was more defensible, and if he'd maybe spammed a few more units, might have been okay, but yeah, well played there. Excellent play by Timeless, really upset the balance of this game. Who would have thought that Timeless would bail out Linky of all situations? I mean, I guess he is Lakota, so it's probably fair enough. GG by Hugo. He does leave the game, and wow. That does mean that we have a new semi-finalist.
Yep, we do. Well played by PLA.
Very well played by PLA. And I have to say, very well played by LAT Fusion. And I'm not just saying that to be a good sport. These were really, really good, very high quality games. And honestly, I think both teams showed enough there that they're deserving of reaching a semi-final. So that was really some epic matches. And I just think that PLA just showed that a bit of edge. I mean, they just showed that they can make the moves when they need to, and kind of make those small advantages and turn them into big advantages. So yeah, epic play by PLA. Let's quickly recap military stats here. We can see that Timeless MVP. I'm not even going to question this one. The Cron MVP award for this game goes to, it's got to go to Timeless, right? I mean,
yeah, no doubt.
He basically won that game with the excellent Lakota play, and he was raiding in the background too, slowing down all of his opponents, which helped him get into that position where he could take that city out. But, you know, the whole team of PLA, I've always been really impressed by their teamwork here. In fact, this is like probably the first clan war I've seen where I feel like both teams probably practiced some strategies in advance, and also they really played like a cohesive unit. I mean, we saw that in all 3 games, or all 4 games, in the sense that, yeah, when, you know, on Watering Hole, the Spanish guy still went for commerce and the other guy went for mill. In the first game on Lakes, we saw, you know, those mill 1 attacks. That was just, yeah, amazing to watch. So, yeah, really, really epic games. Geez, so, Dave, you know what that means?
Yeah, PLA versus EL in the semi-finals. Supposedly, we could play on this weekend. That would be the optimal. But we'll see. I try to schedule ASAP.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very highly anticipated game now. I mean, if I'm just being like, based on what I've been hearing on the street, a lot of people, hopefully this is a compliment, like have been thinking that, you know, EL are just such overwhelming favourites that they're going to be in the grand finals no matter what. But, and I don't mean to say this to scare you, but I feel like watching PLA's games in just tonight, I think they've got what it takes to win against anyone. So I think, you know, if I know it sounds strange talking about EL given that you're a part of that team, but I'd just say, yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, this PLA team has shown that they've got incredible potential to win against any team, and I don't think just because it's EL means that you know, that's a barrier to them reaching the grand final. So yeah, I can't wait to see that best of 7. And yeah, I'm just curious, how do you feel? Like, is it nerves? Is it excitement? Is it any anxiety about having to come up against these Chinese juggernauts?
I would say excitement is the right word. I'm really looking forward to any teams that can challenge us, and PLA definitely looks like someone that could challenge us, so I'm not gonna underestimate them, of course. And they showed really good gameplay, not just today, but previous rounds as well. Beating Tough Alpha is not something that can be said about many teams.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I mean, they did beat Tough Alpha, and Tough Alpha are now, in the grand finals. So that already shows that they've got the the ability. And I think it's always a good move. I mean, you could sit here and be super cocky and be like, yeah, we're going to smash PLA. But yeah, it's always better to under promise and over deliver is what they say in sales. So I think whatever happens in that match, EL vs PLA, I personally think it's going to be super close. And I can't wait to see two of the great kind of teams going at it in what should be a classic semi-final here. Let's quickly recap with the chat. So I can see that we've got GG's all around. Guys, can you please do us a favor too and like the video on YouTube and subscribe as well if you haven't subscribed already. Hit the notification button as well so that every time we go live you can get a notification on YouTube and check out the games. So we really appreciate that. It helps us get out the word to more, so make sure you hit the like button if you haven't yet already. It should be on your app, on your computer, that big thumbs up button. Give us a thumbs up, that'd be much appreciated. Alright, let's do a quick recap of the chat. You can see ProLes is having fun in the chat. All citizens pick up your arms. I feel like we should get the French national anthem. Get that taunt. I can't speak French, so I'm not going to try. You can see Amiga saying, angry man's, some noobs say. I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Mentalist is keen to see the semi-final quickly. I'm sure a lot of us are. Salman Khan, EL vs PLA will be good to watch in a best of 7. That's actually, I mean, do you think, from a casting perspective, my preference would be if you split it into 2 sessions, but what's your thoughts on that? Are you going to try and play all the games in one go or split it up into 2 days?
It's gonna depend on how fast we can complete the games and how it goes. I guess PLA reserves the right to ask for a break as well, same way as we do. So it will depend on the players.
Actually, I think if we can cast that game like semi-live after you guys play, that'd be ideal, because that way, there's no way we can be spoiled. Plus, I don't think you guys are the spoiling type, to be honest. It's certain other teams that are more likely to spoil their games. But yeah, I mean, that'll be epic either way, even if it's in 1 session or 2 sessions like the AZ versus Tough games were. You can see that Oscar, aka Connor McDavid, said, I'm disappointed that Coco didn't play this. Yeah, I mean, that was a bit disappointing. I guess as a fan of LAT, I would have liked to have seen Coco play as well. I think Coco is, fantastic. He's a great player. I don't know though, do I think it was a huge loss? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it would have
On the other hand, we got to see Azteca play. I actually didn't expect him to play at all, so that was a nice surprise.
Yeah, I agree. I think Azteca impressed me today. I thought he would be rusty. I thought he wouldn't show up with the same level of skill that we all kind of thought he would have because he hasn't played for so long. But I think, he showed a lot of kind of unique strategies, going for a lot of middle ones and then made it work. I feel like that Great Lakes game was like a classic match which will go down in, Nomadium history as one of the great games, where it was just so many good moments all around, and that was just the first game out of 4 or 5, depending on if you include the game that dropped. We had to ignore it. But yeah, I don't know. I think Coco, it would have been nice to see Coco play, for sure. See that Connor Jones is saying they might ask for a break after they are down 0-3. Potentially, but I personally think if a team was losing 3-0, probably more likely to want to just keep playing and finish the series, but yeah, it's probably a good idea not to keep playing in those situations. But yeah, I think that's probably about it. Has anyone else got any comments in the chat? Make sure you let us know right now. This has been quite a long cast, but if we do have anyone from either PLA or LAT right now who does want to quickly come on for a quick interview, please let us know. Obviously you don't have to, but it would be great to hear. Especially I'd love to hear from Angelo if Angelo's around, because I think he's the best English speaker. And big shout out to Angelo. He was great in organising these games. Yeah, thanks Oscar. Oscar's got to go. Thanks, Broles. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I'll just see.
Yeah, we will wait around a bit longer. Actually, I have to go as well, but if someone shows up for post-game interview, that would be great, guys. So don't refrain.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Appreciate. Yeah, if anyone wants to come on, but Dave, you better run. So I might just leave this stream running for another 5 minutes in case we get another post-match interview. So thankful for everyone for joining us. It's been as much fun casting these games, hopefully, as it has been for you guys to watch. And yeah, well done, first and foremost, to both PLA and LAT for putting on such an excellent showpiece. And I'm so glad that we were patient enough to wait for this game, because it took a lot longer than we all hoped. So on that note, thanks again, guys. Thanks again, Dave, for coming on for this cast. And yeah, best of luck to you in the semi-finals. And can't wait to see EL versus PLA coming to you soon.
Same. Thanks. See you guys.
All right, see you, Dave. Oh, sorry, I was actually muted then. Hello guys, it's Kron here, I'm back again. Just wanted to let you all know, I was just talking for no reason. But I just wanted to say that there's no post-match interview by the looks of it. We don't have any PLA players, so fortunately we won't hear from them at the moment, or from the LAT guys, but hopefully we will hear from them at some point in the near future. And I also just wanted to let you all know that in case you didn't catch it, make sure you check out the trailer from the start of this match. So it was basically a hype video that we did for PLA versus LAT, which showed some of the footage from their game so far, as well as just a bit of a pep talk. So if you haven't seen it already, the link is in the chat right now, and it'll also be in the description of this video. So make sure you have a look. If you haven't liked this video already, appreciate the likes, guys, and obviously subscribe and make sure you hit the notifications in YouTube. And guys, if you really enjoyed this content, the other thing you can do as well is donate to the prize pool. We're getting to very much the business end now, so we're down to the 4 semi-finalists. Well, we already know that Tough are in the finals, so if you're feeling generous, make sure you check the description and donate a few dollars if you haven't already. And to everyone that's already donated, thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. It's all going to the players. None of it is going to us volunteers who are doing this purely because we enjoy it and we want to grow this. So the other thing you can do is please try and grow Rise of Nations. Things you can do there is be nice to noobs, try and adopt a noob, try and take a noob under your wing and teach them how to play this game. And secondly, you can also stream, spread the word. So if you enjoyed watching today's game, why don't you show it to one of your friends who plays RTS and may not have ever played Rise of Nations, and try and get them into it, because yeah, I mean, we had pretty good viewership, but I mean, if we want to try and compete with Age of Empires 2, I think we have to do a lot of things, but the first thing is getting the word out. So guys, make sure you try and share the love as much as you can. I can see that Irish with the Dutch is still watching. We've got a few stragglers here, so I'm not sure what you guys want me to do. Do you want me to judge